Now you can enjoy the Amazon Prime Video app on Ignite TV. Just say Amazon Prime Video into your Ignite voice remote and watch Amazon originals like The Expanse.
They wanted a fight. We'll give them one.
The Wilds.
Are we in the actual Bermuda Triangle?
And The Boys.
That is amazing.
Prime members can stream Amazon originals, movies, TV shows, and more on Ignite TV today. Now you're in command.
You're watching Rogers TV.
The Rogers Ontario Hockey League Championship Series. Owen Sound, Mississauga. Each team defined by the other.
Shot to the front of the net. He scores. Now the Owen Sound attack get taken advantage of.
Through 2 games, Mississauga has had the upper hand, with the 3rd game of this best-of-7 fast approaching. Owen Sound looks to man up and steal a win on enemy territory.
Here's a chance in a wide open net, and that's the goal Owen Sound needed.
May the best team win.
Race to Halmo, scores! On his own, kicks and scores. We're going to the OHL final. It's been a fun ride. And the celebration begins. History in the making. The Majors have sealed the deal. They are the Eastern Conference champions in the Ontario Hockey League.
5 decades since this happened, folks.
The Majors looking for a 3-0 series lead in the OHL final. Game 3 against the Owen Sound attack next on Rogers TV. Welcome inside the Hershey Center, everybody. I am Ben Ennis. Game 3 of the Rogers OHL Championship Series coming up between the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors and Owen Sound attack here at the Hershey Center. The Majors, the beat goes on for them in the playoffs. They've lost just once in the postseason so far. They haven't lost in this building in the playoffs. And if you want to go back to the last 10 games of the regular season, the Majors have won 24 of their last 25 games. Absolutely incredible. Let's take you back to yesterday as the series shifting to Owen Sound for Game 2 of this Rogers Ontario Hockey League Championship Series. Lots of penalties in this one, 30 between the Majors and attack. And when you compare that to just 13 calls in Game 1, the referees certainly using their whistles in Game 2. The Majors had 18 of those power play opportunities. Well, 8 power play opportunities, 18 penalties called against the attack. Majors converted 50%. 4 power play goals on their 8 opportunities. Justin Judd, Jordan Mayer with 2 goals apiece. Casey Zizekas and Chris D'Souza also scoring for Mississauga as they take Game 2, 6-2, to take that 2-0 series lead as they look to take a 3-0 series lead today on their home ice here at the Hershey Center. The Owen Sound attack, that's their first home loss here in the playoffs, and their first loss on home ice since February 20th. That was a shootout loss to the Oshawa Generals. Before we get to opening puck drop, let's send it down to the national anthem. Our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada,
we stand on guard for thee.
Let's send it down to Alicia Warner, who's with Jesse Messier.
Thank you, Ben. A short turnaround for these two teams last night. Are the Majors at any disadvantage being on the road last night instead of at home?
No, definitely not. You know, it takes a few hours to wind down after a game anyways. So while they're on the bus, the guys in Owen Sound were still up anyways. So I think it's an advantage that they got to sleep in their own beds.
For now, we'll throw it upstairs to Dan Dunleavy and Roger Lajoie. Guys.
All right, set to face off. Game number 3 in this series. Dan Dunleavy along with Roger Lajoie. You were up in Owen Sound last night. A great atmosphere. The home team, unfortunately for the hometown fans, didn't come through. But with the quick turnaround, this series can turn right back into a one-game affair, Raj.
Oh, there's no question, Dan. Dave Cameron always speaks about, hey, we build every playoff series to go 7 games and overtime in Game 7. Nothing has been decided yet. Lots of time for Owen Sound, but then they have got to step it up tonight.
Of note, as we get our first whistle of this game, talk about the starting goaltenders and the major news of the night is Michael Zador gets the start for the Owen Sound attack.
Talk about a super sub, though. Look at those numbers. 110 goals against average, 4 games.
Yeah,
a couple of shutouts earlier in the playoffs.
Another look for Zador here, and they're going to need a special effort. Look out, Riley Brace almost touched that one behind J.P. Anderson. Brace up the wall near side. Gilbert comes down to keep it in. Took the hit from D'Souza. Mark Kenton. And Cameron Brace. Puck goes to the corner. Garrett Wilson. Finally freed up by Brace and the Majors. We'll try the left wing. Rink wide. Brace in stride. Has trouble with the puck. From his skates back to his stick. Centered in front. Rebound. And D'Souza can't get the shot away.
Puck just bounced funny there. D'Souza couldn't get a stick on it, but a good first shift for Owen Sound, keeping some pressure in Majors' end of the rink as well.
Similar to what we saw here in game number 1. Owen Sound with a good first period. Second period was the downfall for the team on the road. Just underway, game number 3. Game 4 will be in Owen Sound on Sunday. Fired in by Devontae Smith-Pelly as the Majors have their top line out there now. Shug and Cizikas. And this line has been the leading contributor on offense for Dave Cameron here in this postseason. A lot of people talk about, here's Cizikas with a chance. Save is made by Zador, and the rebound kicked out there, but Majors can't get the second shot away. Percy will keep it in. Cizikas stays down low. Shug's in front. Pass by him, but Shug with a nice stick lift on Jared Maidens. Keeps the puck deep in Owen Sound territory. But that number 1 line for St. Mike's, Roger, they've been the major offensive contributors so far in this series.
Certainly, and especially in game 2, Shug with a pair of goals, and they were dominant. But boy, the way the Majors continue to roll those lines. Is there really a number 1 line on this team? I still love Marty Williamson's comment. 4 checking lines that can score. That's been the difference in the series. Owen Sound needs some more balanced scoring, Dan. Not just the big guys as well. Everybody's got to contribute more.
And as you mentioned that, it's Cramerosa, Wise, and Schoenmakers out there now for Mississauga. And this is a group that'll finish their checks. They will take away your time and space as Wise is doing now. And as we've seen Jimmy Wise do and his line mates, they also pop the occasional goal here and there for the Majors of J.P. Anderson. Good position there, makes the save, and Shaw is not being allowed to get to the net. We might have our first penalty in this game.
Looks like it's going to the Majors. Oh, no, maybe coincidental minors. Let's see. Durazio is skating over for sure, and he's going to go by himself for a little extra shot in front of the net. See if we can pick it up. And there it is. And you know you're in trouble when Durazio immediately looks to the referee, and the referee points to you, buddy.
Boxed him out, but the referee, Roger, claimed that he didn't like the cross-check portion of the box out. I mean, that happens how many times in a game? Nonetheless, this is the door opening here for the attack. See if they can make it work on their power play.
Power play for Owen Sound, been pretty good, 7th. But hey, the Majors penalty kill, number 1 in the playoffs, Dan, after being number 12 in the regular season. 12th in the league in the regular season, 1st in the playoffs. Let's see how they do in this first opportunity.
And it's Mark Cramarosa and Corey Bureau who have the two shorthanded goals in this postseason for St. Mike's. Saga backing up the center ice, but Almo can get no further. Wise, good puck pressure, comes up with it. Wise on his own. Majors change it up with a backhand on Zador, and the rebound taken there by Bernardi. And the Majors line and tipped in. Waits on it. Over there down low in time for the attack, and the Majors easily clear. Now a minute 2 left in the power play.
This has been the success of the Majors in the penalty kill in the postseason as opposed to the regular season, Dan. Their ability to get that puck out so quickly. We talk about a 5-on-5, how quickly they move the puck.
Clear Titian now with an opportunity for Owen Sound to set something up here. 40 seconds left in the power play. Stanish leads the team as far as power play assists go, so he's the setup man up top. And at this point in the playoffs, he's got himself 8 assists with the extra skater. Won't get the puck to the tip. There was a Major put some pressure on their wall with Suzik and Fleming. Heelis down. Fleming takes the hit against the end boards. Side of the net. Anderson got his pad on the post. The puck's under the crowd of players beside the net. A little extra pushing and shoving as players try to doing it too cleanly.
15 seconds left in the power play, and the Majors doing a great job, as always, protecting J.P. Anderson. There's never been a doubt that J.P. Anderson, there, by the way, is the captain, Derek Wilson, who in the post-game press conference last night was clearly rejected. Dave Cameron obviously was pretty happy, but Wilson's comments post-game were basically, we have to be better. We have to be better. Everybody's got to be better. We're not getting enough done here, whereas Dave Cameron has been very pleased with the way this team played, especially Dan. They gave up 2 goals after taking a 2-0 lead. We talk about it all the time. They play the same way all the time. And boy, last night was evident.
Wise to center will shoot it in. Chance to let you know that Dave Lewis and Craig Spade are the referees tonight. The linesmen, Sean Pinder and Kevin Hastings. Gilbert now finds his way over the line, and a rocket shot is deflected by the blocker arm of J.P. Anderson, who makes a stop. And as Roger mentioned, J.P. Anderson, steady Eddie for St. Mike's, a save percentage of .931, his goals against of 1.72.
There is Gilbert, who's logged a lot of ice time the last 2 games for Owen Sound, and we had a look at Robbie McNarty as well just a moment ago. Robbie has been great on the power play, had a couple of goals in the series opener, and dangerous player. One of the few Owen Sound players who's really been able to cut through the Majors' penalty kill.
St. Mike's backhander wide by Kitson as Mika Partanen is back in the lineup for the Majors tonight, out there with Mayer as well. Nice pass up the gut here. Shaw with a chance. He's on a breakaway. Scores! Beautiful goal for the attack to open the scoring with 14:43 to go here in the first period.
And the fans of the attack have something to cheer about. Boy, did Shaw ever use his speed on that. And a beautiful play to put it past Anderson. Gets a step behind Corrente. Fires it up high as Anderson goes down. Spread him out. Beautiful goal for Shaw. 5:17 in the Owen Sound contingent in the house. Celebrates the first goal of the game for the attack. Just what they were looking for, his 9th of the playoffs. So Shaw, 18 points, 1 behind McNarty for the point lead in the postseason.
Homer Ice Dog is flashing the Jets early here. That's exactly the type of momentum the attack are looking for here on the road to get themselves back in this series and avoid falling 3-0 behind this Majors team that have lost 1 game of their last 25. Pellick plays it back behind his own net. Percy now starts to break up with Casey Cizikas. One thing the Majors have done throughout these playoffs, when they have been scored upon, they have that answer fairly quickly. And there's his shot side of the net. Zador holds the rebound. Juggled it for a moment, but hangs on to the captain right there at the doorstep.
Well, Michael Zador, former Oshawa General, has been the super sub in goal for Owen Sound, and Justin Shug was super last night with a pair of goals. Zador, who is already on his third OHL team, started in London, was part of the big John Tavares deal. Off from London into Oshawa. Went to Owen Sound earlier this year and has done a nice job. Boy, you don't see a team very often, especially in the OHL level, Dan, use 3 goaltenders the way they attacked it.
Here's a shot from the side of the goal. That was an intended pass out front. Clean face-off win by Mississauga. Set that up again. Rob Flick lining up against Liam Heelis, Georgetown, Ontario native. And this time it's Heelis who will be thrown out of the circle. And McNarty will step in. Rob Flick again, a clean win. Back to the point. Off the glass. Majors can't keep possession. And Petgrave cross ice. The attack now will find their way to center ice with a pass near side. Heelis too far. And no icing. You hear him hollering, no, no, no. Brace off the board. To the line, tipped by D'Souza. Won't get there ahead of McNarty, who Shemets up the wing, but it's back into attack territory, and now McNarty out of his reach. D'Souza. Nice possession play. 1-2-3, back to Flick, and D'Souza gets the puck back again here on the left wing. Tips it in deep. Majors change up a couple of bodies with McNarty down low. Makes a bump. And Lauren Heelis just tipped it out to center ice. Rossi with the backhand. Puts it right back into Owen Sound territory. Mississauga finished the line change. 7 minutes through the opening period here in game number 3. The attack was a good start, the 1-0 lead.
Perfect road start for Owen Sound, playing the way the Majors did last night. Took advantage of, not on the power play, but took advantage maybe of the momentum from that early penalty by the Majors. Got the nice breakaway goal by Shaw.
There's a turnover. Coming behind the net. Side play doesn't work out. Smith. Down the outside. Good puck pressure here. Here comes Cramarosa down the left side, and Fedor saw that one all the way, and then 2 attack players accompany Cramarosa and Schoenmakers to the front of the goal.
Well, Michael Zador so far so good as Cramarosa takes the skate off. And Zador has not had much work. There's one thing about the Majors, the way they do play, they're not going to be overly aggressive offensively, but you look at Zador, hasn't played in a while. First game of the series, you might want to fire some pucks. Cramarosa did there, as we see the play develop. But test him early, Dan, and make sure if he's not as comfortable.
Well, you might as well, because in the Tampa Bay Lightning organization, Rolison's going to play until he's 81 if he wins the Stanley Cup. So good luck getting into the lineup. I'd say that obviously lighthearted.
Yeah, lighthearted, but I'll tell you what, hasn't he been a story? Yeah, hasn't he been a story?
We could all be a story at the age of 41. J.P. Anderson makes a stop. Usually we're out the door by then. A little extracurricular after the play.
And Owen Sound's getting the penalty this time. The same kind of a call. I'll give the referees this. They were consistent. Maybe the Majors call on Durazio was a little stuff after. He calls it on one team. Another team does his shot after the whistle. Roughing's the call. And the power play's even out at 8:04. We'll take a look at it. It's hardly a major thing, but if you saw the penalty to Durazio, same kind of thing. It's just after the play. Whistle's done. So, tit for tat. It's Mike Helmo for roughing.
Casey Cizikas, Devontae Smith-Pelly, and Shug working the puck down low. Shot doesn't get through. Clearing attempt doesn't get down the ice. Off the stick of Stanis. Holding his Canton. He and Percy switch sides. Cizikas down to the corner. Here's Smith-Pelly. No shot. Back to Cizikas. Captain back to the point for Percy. Canton near side has Shug to his left. And they're trying to open it up for Shug on the back door here, so they've stayed away from him for a moment. Now Canton will take the shot. Bouncing puck. Percy gets a stick on it. Shug will glove it down. Canton off a skate. And he'll keep it in. Nice left glove. Tipped in front of the net. Smith-Pelly backing up. Stays in play. Cizikas holds. 1:08 to go in the power play. Majors trying to even the score. Trailing 1-0. Shug fires it through, and an easy pad saves it or steers it to the corner. Back to the point. Shug again. Here comes the captain with a blast, and that one will come out to the inside.
Well, Majors getting some traffic in front of the door. Easy save, but there were bodies in front, and that's what you got to do.
Shug hammers it in. Shaw with his back to the play. Here's Flick. Scores! Rob Flick flicked it on goal, and a power play goal for the Rangers has tied this game at 1.
Well, that was the point I was making about testing Zador and firing the puck at him. Not an overly difficult angle, but a nice play by Flick to just fire it, test him, and at 9:21 it makes it pass. Take a look at the play developed, as you mentioned. Wrist shot. Zador just can't pick it up. There were 3 white shirts in front of him, might have been partially screened, but Rob Flick at 9:21 on the power play ties this game at 1, and not only is the Majors penalty kill improved, but the power play now ranks 3rd in the OHL in the postseason after being middle of the pack in the entire regular season. The Majors have certainly addressed that problem.
Rob's second power play goal is J.P. Anderson's called upon to make a save. A good answer off the faceoff by the attack to put some pressure on, and Majors with cutting, putting it off the boards. Ahead to Maidens after retreat again. Here's Helis with a drop pass, and the shot is fired wide. Gilbert comes down to the corner. Away from D'Souza. Still with the puck. Tries to go down low. It's off to Razio. Razio's tip goes right to McNarty. Here's Maidens. Trying to come out front with the backhand. That's tipped away, and Riley Brace softly down the ice. And will this be an icing call? Yes. Linesman arm is up. And 9:56 to go. First period. We got ourselves a game tonight. 1-1.
Majors have had a great playoff. Let's look at some of the big goals they've scored in the postseason. Dave Cameron has had his team have many heroes, as you saw in that montage, some overtime winners. Shug had the big one. Dan, the real, I guess, maybe turning point adversity moment for the Majors was Game 3 against Niagara. They're down 2-0 in that hockey game late in the second period. The series was tied 1-1 here in their home arena. Scored 2 goals, and then Shug won it with the overtime winner. They have not lost since.
I was thinking about coaching a lot over the last 48 hours with all the talk about Bruce Boudreau and what happens with him in Washington, and apparently he sticks around as I think he should. I know you pretty much feel the same way about coaching that I do, and you know, it really takes a certain group of guys with just the right coach to buy into everything that's being preached. We talk about it all the time, and certainly Mark Reeds has found that group here in Owen Sound as well. But you can take both of these two coaches, put them with any other team, and for whatever reason, it might not work. And it's hard to explain, isn't it?
No, you're totally right. It's about the perfect coach for the perfect team at the perfect time. Mark Reed's team missed the playoffs a couple of years in a row, or 2 or 3 years. Now this team is in the championship final. Is he any smarter this year than he was last year? No, I don't think so. I think he'll even admit that. Well, maybe we're all a little bit smarter than we were last year.
He's no
I've learned
off,
something.
Though.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Dave Cameron. They missed the playoffs, or barely made the playoffs in his first year here. Now he's in the OHL final. But you're right, it's Max. And I always say, Dan, I would rather have a coach with an average game plan that everybody on the team buys in than someone with this great game plan that the kids just won't execute. And I think both these guys have the ability, and it is an ability, to get their kids to buy into what they're preaching, especially that guy.
You're right. And then, so from there, when you have that conversation, then you look down on both of these, even these two teams here tonight, you look down the bench, all right, at some point during the season, 1 or 2 of the players on both Owen Sound and Mississauga had to take that leadership role and say, guys, if we take the heat, if we do everything we're told to do, even though we really want to maybe open it up a bit more and do this, do that. But if we listen to Mark, if we listen to Dave and buy in, let's just see what happens here. I think we have a chance if we do it. Because a lot of teams, you'll have guys that are freewheeling. They don't care. It's their own agenda. They're playing for their own reasons. But both teams are here for a reason, Roger. And I always wonder who those 2 guys are on the bench. It's not just down to the coach. Somebody has to show the way. And obviously for the Majors, you could talk about Sezikis and Shug. If the penalty is called on the play,
I think the Majors got more than 2 guys. That's been the thing with them. But you're right. It has to come from the players. If the penalty's Owen Sound, I thought the penalty was to the Majors, but
so did I.
To Olsen. All right. I believe it's hooking. I thought it was the Major player that impeded, or is he calling 2 here? No, it's Wilson for hooking. So the Majors power play has already struck once. They will try to strike again. Third in the OHL in the postseason after mediocre performances. Biggest turnaround the Majors in the postseason is their special teams play. See if we can pick it up here. Wilson on his man.
Play underway. Back to the point, Percy. Working down the left wall, and Shug will now bring it to the top of the circle. Far side. Shot directed on net and just wide. Cleared down the ice. With that chance at elbow.
And again, here's the case. Michael Zador, first game of the series. Majors always want to get shots on goal, but they want to direct traffic and shots at him here. Test him on the power play.
Ellis. Right back down the ice. Here's McNarty. He's a threat. Smart play by McNarty. He just wants to try and hold that puck down low as long as he can. Comes loose, and he'll back up. McNarty and three of his teammates line up in center ice. Majors get by the first wave, but not the second. Razio softly ahead for the captain, Cizikas. Go to the bench, frustrated that that power play shift number one didn't go so well. Good job here by Owen Sound. This would be a big kill, even though it's a 1-1 game. 2-0 series. After you take that 1-0 lead, you don't want this. We have an offside. Last thing you want is for the home team to score 2 in a row, Roger, and put you right back behind the 8-ball again.
You know what's funny about that stat, Dan? It's always the same thing with any team. You score the first goal, you win 75% of the time, whatever it is. But that doesn't mean you lead the whole game. Like the Majors, same thing last night in game 2, or the other night in game 2. You get up 2-0, you figure, well, that's the game's over. Well, it's not over. It was 2-2. And the Majors didn't take the lead again to the second period. So that first goal of the game stat is somewhat misleading at times. So the Majors gave up the first goal, but you're absolutely right. If they get the second one here, what difference does that first goal make for Owen Sound?
Rob Flick out there now, along with Kitson and Mayer. Kitson dances with that puck in the corner, back up top. 25 left in the power play for Mississauga. 1-1 game. Mayer snaps one on, rebound is there. Kitson backhander, can't get it to the front of the net. Room now for Fleming. Walks around one player. Kitson fires, scores! That may have taken a deflection, and we've got a penalty to attack after the goal. The Majors will stay on the power play, and they lead it 2-1.
That could be a turning point in this game, because that is just an undisciplined penalty there to take after the goal. Maxim Kitson, we keep talking about that big reach, the stick, the way he fires the puck. If he gets it going, and he gets it going here, Mayer with the original shot. Again, Kitson around him. Watch the work here. Keeping cutting from the puck. Gets another opportunity. Fleming with a nice move around, and Kitson, big stick, big reach, goes up top, and then just behind Kitson, you can see the hit after the goal, and it's just not necessary. And the referee, before anyone starts complaining from the attack bench, has made it clear with the first 2 penalty calls tonight that stuff after the whistle is going to be called. Stuff came after the whistle. It's called again, and a tough break for Owen Sound. Maxim Kitson makes it 2-1.
Team leading 5th goal on the power play, and yes, Mark Reach was quite upset about the penalty. However, you're right. From the first moment on in this game, it was made clear, a penalty to Mississauga, that anything after the whistle in front of the net is going to be called. I like it.
And you're consistent. And by the way, before anyone starts talking about us being homers, it was D'Orazio that got the first penalty.
Exactly. Here's a chance now. Back up ice. And that shot from Hisham. The Majors right now. So a power play again for St. Mike's with a 2-1 lead. 7:06 to go in the first period. And that man, Joey Hisham, the Colorado Avalanche first rounder, 17th overall. Gonna have to find some magic here, maybe with a short-handed marker with a face-off here to the left of J.P. Anderson.
Now, we talked about the Majors' depth being the difference in the series, but it can be off shot a little bit if the big line of Owen Sound can get going. I mentioned off the top of the broadcast, Garrett Wilson's disappointing comments last night. Comments that he was disappointed. Now maybe Hisham can get it going.
Hisham short-handed, and that shot high off the bench. Down behind Anderson. Well, there's no doubt that this group of 4 players right now that are out here killing it. You've got Hisham, you've got Wilson, and Blacker, and Stanis. I mean, that might as well be a power play for one of the teams in the Ontario Hockey League with just 4 guys.
No, they're skilled players, Dan. You're right. They have to produce.
I have McNarty and Shaw with Stanis and Blacker. on the other hand, the Majors have a chance here to put the hammer down early after falling behind 1-0. A chance here on the power play. Now here's McNarty with the breakaway. Shorthanded with Anderson. Scores! McNarty, shorthanded, ties the game.
Exactly what we were talking about, the veteran players having to do it. And McNarty does with a beautiful play. And 2 breakaways given up by the Majors, and both find the back of the net. And look at this great move by McNarty, just slipping it through the pads. That's a beautiful play by Robbie McNarty. 13:29 shorthanded. Talk about a huge goal in this hockey game. 13th of the postseason for McNarty. And we're tied at 2. Credit the attack. They are not going to quit.
That is the second shorthanded goal of these playoffs for Owen Sound. The other shorthanded goal coming from the player we were talking about ahead of that, Joey Hisham. Well, there you go. Folks in Owen Sound can't say you're homers here in Mississauga. We put the hex on the Majors talking about it so much, and it actually happened.
Nice play by McNarty all around there.
Canton and Cizikas. And now a goal on the power play just to regain the lead. Boy, what a swing. Those 2 goals, the power play goal by Mississauga and the shorthanded goal by Owen Sound coming exactly 1 minute apart. Canton in the slot. Shug trying to find the captain. Has the pass tipped away. Rebound! Scores! Hang on, folks. It's going to be a wild one. 3-2 Majors, another power play goal.
And again, getting shots at Michael Zador, especially the top players. And that's what's happening from the Majors' perspective as they answer right back. Great play by Shug to control. Quick shot, rebound, Smith-Pelly. And on the power play at 14:24, the Majors have three power play goals 14.5 minutes into this game. Talk about the power play work, and they had 4 last night and 3 goals in 2:05 by both teams. Hey, you like it a little more wide open? There you go.
Largest crowd of these playoffs for Mississauga, and they're seeing a show in this opening period. Special teams.
Majors have 7 power play goals in 4 periods.
Semek's shot is well wide of the mark and allows the Majors to come back the other way. Tony Ambrosio of Rogers Sportsnet, the in-house PA for the Mississauga Majors all season, just back from his trip down to Tampa Bay to watch the Jays play the Rays. He's a busy man here in the opening period. Petgray behind the net to Souza there. Riley Brace with a check on Shemitz. The penalty coming up again. Petgray cross-checking. Guys just aren't getting the memo here from the referee. That memo was issued on the first pretty much possession of the game against Mississauga.
Yeah, and you know, Dan, I'm all for letting guys play, but let's watch this play in particular. Hit against the boards. Hit against the boards. Fine. All right, that's fine. Little push. Knock them down with the stick. So say what you want. Mark Reeds was criticizing the officials afterwards. This guy's got to be more in control. That's simple. Especially when the Majors have 3 power play goals.
Well, unless the game plan is to start taking short-handed goals here.
Well, the way they, you know what, with their breakaways, maybe that is part of it.
Standish gets the elbow up a little bit on Smith-Pelly. Majors keep the puck in the zone. Well, who knows what's next with a special team-filled first period. Canton holds. You can tell even the veteran Canton cautious about making that pass. He being the last man up top. Majors giving up that short-handed. Nice work down low. The captain's turned aside and work out Canton backing up. Fortunate that Hisham wasn't right on his hip there. Tipped in by Cizikas. Zador. Blacker. Wilson. And they're both playing center ice. Actually a little bit further as it rolls by Percy.
That's a big penalty kill for Owen Sound here, Dan. They've got to keep the composure. They played a pretty good first period. And get this penalty killed off to fuse the Majors' power play a little bit.
They scored 2 out of the Port Stanley, Ontario native, and now it's Brett Fleming, Washington Capitals draft pick, who saw his team, his future team in the NHL, unless he's dealt somewhere, which I doubt he would be, fall out of the Stanley Cup tournament a little quicker than expected. And I would suggest to you that the Capitals are waiting for a defenseman that plays exactly the way that Fleming plays for the majors. It's certainly not going to suggest he'll be there next year. He's probably a defenseman that will use some seasoning in the American Hockey League, but boy, does he have all the tools.
Oh, he'll play at the pro level. I'm pretty confident about that, Dan. There's no question. And he's developed nicely here under Dave Cameron.
Flick is spun around. Helis taking the man on the boards. 5 seconds left in the power play for Mississauga. Another solid kill here by Owen Sound. Penalty's over, and it's a steal, and now a potential 2-on-1. Helis with Petgrave out of the box. He's got some rifle, and he fires it wide. Blacker. Helis open again. Sorry, Petgrave in the pass. Petgrave couldn't get the shot away.
What a nice piece of work by Kitchen to get back there and take the man off the puck and bring the puck out of the zone. That was an excellent penalty kill.
Now Brace down the right side. Rolling puck. Takes the shot. Stopped by Anderson. Gibson in the corner. Can't clear. Kept in. Cutting off the boards. Brace centering pass. Nobody home. It's a Jamie Wise. Up the middle for Cramarosa. And he was crammed. Wise, look out. Just missed Cramarosa. Guys are flying. Look out. That's a dangerous hit. And even Cutting, I think he knows that was more momentum. I think Jamie even tried to pull up a bit, but it was far too late by the time he was going to make contact.
Yeah, but it's a penalty.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a dangerous hit. It's a dangerous hit. There's a little answer in the boards. We'll have a look at it here. Wise is just chasing him in. Watch. Sorry.
It's a push. And it's a push. You notice he kept the arm out saying, I'm in trouble here.
He was able to cut. Fortunately for Cutting, he was in a position enough that he could cushion that and keep his arms in front of him, so it's not serious, but it is a boarding penalty and not a Wise one for Jamie Wise. So now, special teams is a huge factor in this game. Owen Sound with a chance to maybe tie it up. We're down to 1:59 to play in the period, so basically this power play, unless Owen Sound scores, is for all of this remaining part of the period.
Zikas and Hisham. Casey just falling on the puck on that face-off. Stanish wide open. Unable to get the shot away. Berdnikov back to Blacker. I think there's been a few AC/DC references when it passes back to Blacker over the years.
Nothing you can do about your last name.
No. Cramarosa will back up now as Hisham carries over the line. Stanish looking for an open man. Berdnikov and Hisham working the left side of the ice. Stanish and Blacker here on the right-hand side down to the hash marks. He creeps down to the corner. They head that way with a pass. Here's a feed out front, and it's tipped by the crowd, and Hisham, or Blacker from the left corner this time. 1:05 left in the power play. Stanish shot, scores! Tipped in front. Garrett Wilson will get the goal, and we are tied at 3. This is a special first period.
Well, it's a goal-filled first period, that's for sure, and the power play of Owen Sound answers back, and Garrett Wilson, who we talked about in the post-game press conference after Game 2, answers. Now, did he touch that? That shot came from the point. Wilson was positioned there. I believe he did get a stick down on it. It'll be his 10th if he did touch it. 18:56, and that's just appropriate the way this first period has gone. That's a little poetic justice there, 3-3.
5 special team goals out of the 6.
So who says the majors only play these dull, low-scoring games? Penalty coming to majors. Oh, boy. Well, the referee's calling it both ways, and he's calling a tripping penalty here.
Now, you want consistency, but the fans now are starting, I think on both sides, think, all right, I mean, how much, have we been 5-on-5 for more than 5 minutes for this opening period?
Yeah, there's been a lot of penalties, both sides, no question. Especially with the way the special teams are operating tonight. So another power play chance for Owen Sound.
I think Casey Suzuki's having a word with the ref saying, now, is this
Is this the deal for the entire night, or are you trying to send a message? And normally when you see a playoff game referee like this where everything is called, and let's make no mistake, both teams are getting hurt here with the penalty calls, as Hisham with the backhand stopped by Anderson. But at some point you wonder, where did the edict for this come down all of a sudden? Well, when the referees will answer back, and we'll make that point here in a second, see if this power play goes anywhere. Blacker, nice movement. J.P. Anderson got over, tipped just wide. Referees will say you're not getting the message, you're still taking the penalties. I didn't do this, set the tone. I set the tone to make you guys stop doing this. If you're not going to stop doing it, I'm going to do it all night. Right up the middle on the attack now, right side, Blacker, McNarty trailing. Blacker through a crowd, McNarty on it, and he strips, and Cramarosa will give chase. Zador had trouble handling that puck, so Stanish now in trouble. Cramarosa with an important few seconds here to help end the period at 3-3, and that's a good shift by Joe Cramarosa for Mississauga. What a wacky opening period. Both coaches watching their teams take penalty after penalty. 5 goals on special teams out of the 6, Roger. And 6 and 3 aside. Entertaining certainly for the fans. The coaches might be a little bit annoyed, but you know what? The fans' game is not a coach's game. 3-3 after 1. Let's go down to the panel with Ben Ennis and get their thoughts. Ben?
Thank you very much, Rod. Ben Ennis, joined by Jesse Messier and Matt Scooby here atop the Hershey Center. A crazy first period of action, guys. 3-3 between the Majors and Owen Sound attack, with the Majors leading the series 2 games to none. Jesse, I mean, when you look at the way the Majors are going on the power play now, 7 for their last 12, absolutely insane. What do you attribute that to?
Their puck movement and puck retrieval out there, it's second to none. Every loose puck was theirs, especially on that first power play. And then once they have control of it, they don't force it. You know, they work it around and they spread out. And no guys to a set position, they really get a lot of movement, which spreads out the PK, and it's working wonders for them right now.
And you have to wonder when Owen Sound is going to get the message that you have to stop taking penalties. We saw a slew of penalties in game number 2. Also in this first period, it's kind of like, you know, the Majors 3 for 3 on the first 3 power plays. When are you going to start being disciplined? Because you can't let a team like this. They are very lucky to be in this game right now. That Mississauga has also taken those penalties, but I think Owen Sound very lucky right now to be in this hockey game. Yeah, the Majors start the game 3 for 3 on the power play yesterday. They were 4 for 8 on the power play in Owen Sound. The attack also with a power play goal in this game, and then 2 breakaway goals, 1 shorthanded. And you don't see that very often for the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors, giving up 2 breakaways in a game, no less in the 20 minutes that we saw here in the first period. That's just not Dave Cameron's style, as we're going to talk a little bit more about this first period after the break. But first, we'll send it downstairs to Alicia Warner, who's with Jesse Blacker. Intermission action. Majors and attack all tied up at 3s through 20 minutes in game 3.
Hi, I'm Bobby Gillespie, president of the Owen Sound Rotary Club. I'm here to thank our Owen Sound Attack Challenge sponsors. Their contributions make Rotary projects a reality.
Back to the Hershey Center, the Majors and Owen Sound attack all tied up at 3s through 20 minutes of play in game 3, with the Majors leading the Rogers OHL Championship Series 2 games to none. I'm Ben Ennis, joined by former Major Jesse Messier and Matt Scooby. We're going to talk about this first period of play. Not much to talk about, really? I mean, it's just 6 goals, 4 on the power play, 1 shorthanded, a couple of breakaways. Crazy period of hockey. And Jesse, you have a unique perspective on the Majors, obviously being the captain of this team and playing under Dave Cameron. What do you think he's going to tell his team here in the break They are tied at threes. They're great on the power play. The offenses look great, but defensively, a couple of lapses, one shorthanded, giving up the breakaway shorthanded, another breakaway goal, and giving up one on the power play. What do you think Dave Cameron's going to say?
I think he's gonna want them to tighten up defensively a lot more, paying attention to small details. I think there might be a stern talking to a few guys in there, but at the same time, he's gonna keep them upbeat. You know, it's still 3-3. There's a lot of hockey left to play, so they got plenty of time to make up for those errors.
You mentioned it before the break, though, too, man. Very unlike Dave Cameron coach hockey teams. When you look at it, the first breakaway, it was Corrente and Durazio that got caught. On the second one back there, it was Fleming and Durazio. So Durazio got caught twice on both of those breakaways, especially the one shorthanded, I think, is the biggest one right now. You have to be aware of where these guys are on the ice. It was almost like a basketball play. Kind of as soon as you get possession, you outlet the puck, and give the attack a lot of credit, give Blacker a lot of credit for realizing that he saw where McNarty was able to hit him. McNarty finished, too, as well. His 12th goal leading the playoffs, leading the OHL playoffs in that category. So give the attack some credit, but those couple of defensive lapses we're not used to seeing from this major team. Goaltending was certainly one of the storylines heading into this game, at least for the Owen Sound attack, as they made a change in net. Scott Stager got the start the first two games. He is a scratch, not even the backup here, as Jordan Bennington is backing up Michael Zador. Zador, hard to fault him on some of those goals, but I don't know. Is this a move maybe you make going forward in this game to get Bennington into this game and the third goalie in this series already?
It could very well happen, especially seeing their starting goalie starting the playoffs. He's now in the stands, so it shows they don't have much trust in their goaltending right now, especially the way it's been playing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bennington in the second period.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a Philadelphia Flyers situation when it comes to the goalie roundabout, but at this point, I think you have to stick with the door. It's a 3-3 hockey game. It's not like you gave up 3 goals and, you know, your team's down 3-0 right now. You're still in the hockey game, and I think you have to give him some credit as well. He made a couple of saves, but the Majors did a very good job of getting some traffic towards the front of the net. All three goals came on the power play. So you're down to men. You can't really fault your goaltender. Yes, he gave up a big rebound on the Devontae Smith-Pelly goal, but at the same point, he hasn't, you know, he's been the best goaltender in the playoffs. Again, I want to contradict myself, but only in 4 games. He has the best goals against average in the OHL playoffs. But I think at this point, you stick with it or and see where it takes you. You just have to be more disciplined, I think, for the attack going into the second period. Yeah, certainly too many power play opportunities given up by the Owen Sound attack in that opening period of hockey. Other action around the CHL, none on the go right now, but lots to talk about around the CHL. Let's send it up to Brad and Will. I can't hear them, eh? So you're going to have to...
3 apiece. Nothing else happening around the CHL on the ice, as you mentioned, but a lot to talk about still. We do have a WHL game later on. We'll talk about Kootenay taking on Portland in Game 1 of that series. QMJHL was last night, and that one, Gatineau lost Game 1 to St. John, number 1 seed St. John. Let's quickly go over the OHL awards, because Brian Ellis, just this week, the Windsor Spitfires named the OHL's most outstanding player, the Red Pilsen Award.
Yeah, that's right, Ellis. Completely deserving of the award. He had 100 points this year as a defenseman, the captain of the Windsor Spitfires, so I think no one else deserved that trophy more than he did. He also did win the Best Defenseman of the Year award, which makes sense. If you're the MVP of the league, you're probably going to be the best at your own position.
Just logic.
So no shocker there.
245 points in the voting for Ellis. Second place, 135 for Toffoli, Tyler Toffoli, and then it was Jason Atkinson of Kitchener who settled for third place in the voting. But as you're going to show us, Atkinson not too concerned about finishing third there.
No, not at all. Jason Atkinson of the Kitchener Rangers won 4 awards, which sets an OHL record. He won highest scorer and highest scoring right winger. Both of those were split with Tyler Toffoli of the Ottawa 67s, but still, that's 2 awards there. He also won most sportsmanlike player and best overage player of the year, so that's a lot of trophies for the trophy cabinet for Mr. Atkinson.
I always got most sportsmanlike and pretty much nothing else. Coach of the year went to a guy who's coaching in this game.
Yeah, we're seeing him right now in this final series. It's Mark Reed of the Owen Sound attack, and he won the Coach of the Year for bringing Owen Sound to the #1 seed in the West. And, well, it's been paying off. His coaching has brought him this far into the finals, at least.
The CHL Awards for the entire nation, they take place later on this month, and they will be broadcast on Rogers TV, so check your local listings for that. RogersTV.com, the full schedule right there. That's your full rundown on the awards. We'll have a look at that WHL game and even take a peek at the OHL draft when we see you at the second intermission.
Thanks a lot, guys. Let's talk a little bit more about that first period and the Owen Sound attack. And I think the message from Mark Reeds to his team coming into this game must have been discipline, discipline, discipline. We gave up 4 power play goals on 8 power play opportunities in game 2. But here we see them give up 3 power play goals in the first period, and the Majors are going to start the second period on the power play as well. They're 7 for their last 12 on the power play. Mark Reeds has just got to be tearing his hair out right now.
Oh, definitely. A few of those penalties they took in the first period, too, were completely unnecessary. Plays after the whistle, and the ref set a point early in this game. You can see that he's going to call everything, anywhere, and he's going to continue doing that. So they got to keep out of that stuff after the whistle and just play hard in between whistles if they want to continue going on here.
And I think you heard the guys talking about it on the broadcast as well. It's the stuff after the whistle. They set the tone with the Razio with the first penalty, and then the next 2 went to Owen Sound. It's that little things that they're not going to let go. There were, again, those bunch of penalties really in the third period near the end of game 2 that were really kind of like, okay, here's where we go, the shenanigans are happening. I think they were kind of told to crack down. Here's a crackdown, nothing after the whistle, whether it comes from above or not. But at this point, they've been very consistent. You have to give them credit for that. But the referees have been consistent both ways. The Majors took some more penalties at the end of that first period as well. So it's gone both ways. Both coaches can't complain. They just both have to get their teams to be more disciplined. Yeah, absolutely. The power play has just been unbelievable for the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors. Rob Flick, Max Kitson, and Devontae Smith-Pelly, all with goals on the man advantage in that opening 20 minutes. And for a moment there, the Majors were 7 for their last 11 on the power play. They didn't score on one of those power play chances. Only one they didn't score on in that first period. And as mentioned, they're going to start the second period on the power play again. So the Majors man advantage working wonders right now as they are all tied up with the Owen Sound attack at 3s as we get set for the second period. It's the Rogers OHL Championship Series on Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Bobby Gillespie, president of the Owen Sound Rotary Club. I'm here to thank our Owen Sound Attack Challenge sponsors. Their contributions make Rotary projects a reality.
J.P. Anderson, who drifted wide to his right. Rebound almost came off the post to his left and right back out in front, but Stanish has to back up for it. Wild first period if you just joined us. And leading Roger Lajoie as Hishing carries left wing and holds up. Wait for McNarty to get down low. Wilson out front. Koch doesn't get there. Percy, a nice job to steal the puck. Stanish will keep it in. Blacker waits to the far side. Instead, it's Hishing. Pass out front there by Garrett Wilson is cut off, and Hishing gets it back again. Good possession here. 10 seconds left. Tip in front. Save Anderson. Second save again by JP. And the Majors will clear. That'll do it for the power play. Huge kill for the Majors, especially those split penalties at the start of a period. Sometimes a little tough for both ends of the special team power play and penalty kill, Dan, but big kill, especially the way that first period unfolded with all the goals and scoring chances.
Well, I'm interested to see how the first 10 minutes of this period goes. The players certainly, if they haven't gotten the message by now after that first 20, and the coaches, I'm sure, made sure they heard it again. And I think after every whistle, you'll see players quickly back away from anything and just line it up to face off. Stretch pass for Rob Flick, but he's closed down by Keevan Cutting very quickly. And Riley Brace on the right wing. There's traffic in front to Souza. Taken away by Shaw. Under pressure, Shaw finds his own blue line. He's got some space now at center. Shaw keeps going end to end. Shot is blocked. Canton got it his way. Nice push up the ice, and the attack with possession again. Keevan Cutting up top with Gilbert. Shot blocked by Riley Brace. Side of the net, Canton with a stick work on Shaw, who has the first goal of the night to his credit for Owen Sound. Mika Parton didn't see a ton of ice time in that opening period. He's out there now working against Keevan Cutting, trying to get it across the blue line and out of his own zone. They continue to work it. And it's finally cleared out. Shaw will lift it right back in again. Shaw went sliding on his belly over to the team bench there, making that change. As we get an icing call against St. Mike's, and fans and Maxim Kitson don't agree with it, but get in line tonight.
So face-off goes back into Majors territory. Kitson has a word for the referee. As I said, didn't agree with that call. Michael Zador, huge factor. No, it's face-off center ice. So Kitson had a point. The referees admit, you know, that is the call. It's not icing. I'll do the face-off right in the butt.
Mayer and Helis. Mayer down a tip of the head, but fired in by the attack. J.P. Anderson takes a look. Kitson stands and waits on it, but he shielded the puck enough that it had the time to get to center ice. Looks like he might be in trouble for a moment. Here's Corrente now. Doesn't get this deep. Offen in the rebound for Kitson. Turns and fires, and he has top shelf available there to really tough angle.
We talk about Kitson. That's his ability to use that big stick and reach and create chances like that. He had a goal like that earlier and didn't miss by too much there.
Maidens from Helis offside, had to reach behind him. Pass from the Georgetown native, not quite working. 16:48 to go. Second period just underway. 3-3 game.
Well, glad to see that the penalty whistle was put away for the first 3 minutes and 12 seconds of this period, Dan. And nobody wants to come to a rink and see a bunch of penalties. But I understand what referees are trying to do. They're trying to establish themselves. So it's almost like, all right, we had that nonsense in the first period. We had a lot of minors. They're going to call it close tonight. The players respond. Now we can get back to playing 5-on-5 most of the night and keep the special teams to a minimum and have a much fairer test, I think, for all teams. Because nobody wants a pile of penalties, but you want free flow play too, right?
Percy behind the net, pressured by Wilson. And it's Casey Suzuki. Smith-Pelly reaching behind himself and with his back to the center ice red line, fires it in for Shug on the far side. Suzuki's behind the net, keeps it coming around, tries to wrap around Zador over in plenty of time. Smith-Pelly has Shug at the face-off dot. Devontae will keep it. Anaheim pick down in the corner to the Islander draft pick. And Suzuki takes a bump there as he waited to move that puck. Garrett Wilson, and he's met by Fleming. A big hit by Fleming. Cut off the rush for Owen Sound. And the pass back to the point will come outside the line. Bouncing puck. Here's a chance now offside. Rob Flick and Riley Brayson. Further to your point about the refereeing, not only did they set the tone for the players, but more importantly, believe it or not, there's even more pressure on them for the rest of the game. You're going to start calling everything to start a game. You talked about consistency. You let something go in a tie game later that you called in the first period. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, you're going to hear it. There's no question about that. Referees have an extremely difficult job, without doubt. But you certainly do want that model. It's the strike zone in baseball, Dan. He asked even pitchers, well, you know, he's calling it tight tonight. If you know that in the first inning, you got to adjust accordingly if you're going to have a tight strike zone. Same thing. They're going to call everything. They're going to call everything, so you got a choice. Either adjust, or we're going to have 8 power plays aside here by the end of the second period.
Our buddy Paul Krotz with the Ontario Hockey League just standing down to our left. It's his birthday today. He had his name up on the board for happy birthday. And, you know Paul well. He does a lot of legwork for the Ontario Hockey League.
We're going to see a lot of Paul Krotz here starting a couple of days before May 20th, of course. The Memorial Cup here in Mississauga. Happy birthday, Paul.
Happy birthday, Paul. He's a good guy to work with. D'Souza trying to work the boards. This is Berdnikov. It's into Majors territory. 5 minutes into the second period. Play's been a little bit busted up. I think players aren't sure what to do 5-on-5 all of a sudden.
Yeah, it is a little different after that first period, wasn't it?
Well, you know, a lot of guys probably didn't see this amount of ice time maybe they would on a normal basis in an opening period, so.
And I think now,
there, Now, that being said, when Corrente touched it, there were only, I counted 4 skaters, but there were 2 that were trying to get off. And very recently, there was a call like that in the National Hockey League where the argument was, all right, do you make the call when the players are leaving the ice, not part of the play anyway? And that becomes referee's opinion.
Yeah. You hate, I mean, listen, you hate to have too many men on the ice call at any time in a hockey game. Somebody's got to go over and serve it. And finally somebody does.
It'll be Mika Partanen. He's not seeing a ton of ice time, so he might as well put the big fin over there from Helsinki. Well, they had the lead, Owen Sound, at 5:17 of the first period. Since then, it's been playing catch-up for the attack. And speaking of catch-up, how about catching Fleming shorthanded, trying to answer the shorthanded goal scored in the first period by Robbie McNarty.
Well, a good shift like that, the start of a penalty, still the first 15 seconds of the power play, too.
One of the Owen Sound players just coming back from the team room on the bench, just trying to get a number down. He's standing up at the end of the bench, though, so it looks like everything's okay. Probably just a skate situation. Another shorthanded 2-on-1 developing here. Shug carries in, holds it, puts it off the iron. Near post for Shug.
Well, Michael Zadorov made the smart move there, staying that close to the side of the post and didn't give Shug any room, but aggressive penalty kill here by the Majors.
Wilson can't put it by Canton, and the Boston Bruin Sonny will play it near side. Now Wise at center. Beyond him and Zador. Cramarosa cuts it off. Lost his stick, but he can keep the puck in the zone. Jamie Wise here as well. Cramarosa coming up towards the blue line, looking for a stick. No, he'll just go to the bench.
Great work by Wise there, too, to help out his teammate without the stick. After Cramarosa tied up the Owen Sound attack, he was able to knock it in deep. Just 32 seconds left.
Halmo now weaving his way in, and that's deflected by Canton. And Canton gets a stick up into Halmo a little bit, but Halmo didn't make any friends in the Majors team after his punch to Schoenmakers in game number 2.
Watch Justin Shug do his work here. He has had it going the last couple of games. 2 goals last night. Watch the door, though. Stays with him. Stays to the and off the side of the post. Dan, no question. And a close chance shorthanded for the Majors. 30 seconds to go in the power play. This is starting to feel now like the championship series. This is starting to feel like playoff hockey. Now you get a sense of nervousness here, Dan. We had that kind of wide open, kind of fun first period. You notice everything a little tenser now. Everybody playing a little more cautious.
Well, I'm pretty sure both coaches said, hey, guys, where'd you go?
Yeah, please do play a little cautious. It's the OHL final.
That's right. Petgrave, and boys, he had some hop here in this series. Game number 1 and tonight as well. And the attack with McNarty down low. Almo pressured by Fleming. Out of the box is Mika Partnett. Majors back to full strength, but still under pressure down low in their own zone. Durazio ahead. Daniel Sweep seeing some ice time for Owen Sound. Look out, big hit is Rob Flick. It's Petgrave. Petgrave looking around saying, where's the call? Now, I'm not sure where the puck was when Petgrave took the hit. Referee obviously felt it was in the area. Let's take a look at it.
And Petgrave lets the referee know what he thinks. Let's watch. Against the boards. In comes Flick. Into the boards. Puck was there in the area, certainly. But Petgrave shakes off the hit, goes back to the bench, not pleased, obviously. And in fact, now the referee goes over to talk to him. Sometimes we see the referee go over and talk to the coach, eh? See, the referee went over and talked to Petgrave.
He did. You know what he said?
No penalty.
Next time I'm going to hit you.
I don't think so. Actually, that'd be kind of interesting if you did say that.
Well, I'm sure sometimes it's not as pleasant as we think.
Yeah. Well, sometimes just a matter of a word. You want them talking.
How about this nice little pass? And unable to get by was Cameron Brace. Just eluded him, but he still has the puck. Then lost the handle trying to play it back to the point. Oh boy, there's just not the same room on the ice here tonight for Mississauga. The Owen Sound attack really settling in here and feeling more and more confident. Majors known for having some pretty dominant second periods to take over hockey games. And here comes Owen Sound. 3 of them over the line. Shot stopped. Shot blocked. And the Majors with a chance to counter now. Maxim Kitson. Drop past Zizekas. This is quite the combo to be on the ice at the same time. Kitson plays it behind the net. Shug can't keep possession. And it's Maidens giving chase at center. Slightly right, and he'll tip it deep in Mississauga territory. 11:09 to go. Second period, 3-3 game. Game number 3 of the series. Mississauga with a 2-0 lead in the best of 7. Both teams headed to the MasterCard Memorial Cup, but they want this OHL championship. Here's Wilson. Takes the shot. Stopped by Anderson. Got a piece of it. Right back come the Majors. Smith-Pelly with Shug and Zizekas, the number 1 line. Drop pass for Smith-Pelly. Wide, takes the shot. Rebound. Casey Zizekas can't find it. Shug with a chance. Puck in the air. And Zador somehow
Boy, somehow is right. How did he keep it out as the Majors had several whacks at it? Zador looked to be down and out, but kept the movement to a minimum, and on his back makes the save as we get the crowd in front. Let's watch the attack. First, Wilson with the shot. Anderson gets a piece of it with a glove, and all the way back down. Shug to Smith-Pelly. Shot. Puck loose. Cizikas one whack. Another whack by Smith-Pelly. Shug with a chance. Zador's looking around, doesn't know where it is. It's underneath him. And a little extracurricular activity after the whistle. Great chance for the Majors in deep. Dan, we talked about Owen Sound feeling comfortable. Michael Zador is still feeling too comfortable in the Owen Sound goal. The Majors are not shooting the puck, in my mind, enough at them. They have 14 shots, 14-12 halfway through the game, but Byron, his first game of the series, gave up 3 goals in the first period.
Now, the longer that Zador is in a close game, the more comfortable he'll feel about it. Off the face-off, here come the attack with McNarty and Maidens. D'Orazio trying to take the angle away from Maidens. He does. McNarty can't get to the puck. D'Orazio actually had the first touch on it after the collision on the wall. Maidens back to the point. Peckray looking for the tip in front, and Anderson there. Boy, McNarty, I don't think he touched it. He pulled the stick away just a hair before that puck got there.
Nice job by the attack, though, keeping traffic in front of Anderson and providing some of the screen. Michael D'Orazio skates off. And, of course, he's been in this league a lot of years. Got the hoots in Owen Sound the other night when he was touching the puck, so that's to be expected, given his previous history there.
No high stick, no glove pass. That was an interesting combo off that face-off.
I thought both could have been called there.
Yeah, either way, I guess. Here's Rob Flick. Puck goes by him, and Zador's going to hold it for a face-off. And then Peckgrave and Flick are at one another a little bit. Well, they're not really backing away from the extracurriculars that sent players to the box in the opening period, are they?
No, you can talk as long as you don't nudge anybody, as long as you don't knock anybody down, and that's, I think, what we're seeing the difference in this second period so far. Quite the battle, and as I said, this game is settling in now, settling into a kind of a nervous pattern.
Christian had a word for Smith-Pelly as he skated into the face-off circle to take the draw, so that you're bang on, Roger. This series has taken on the championship feel that we were waiting for. There's Zador making a stop, almost tipped in front.
Well, we get the chance to do the game tonight. The Sportsnet crew does Sunday. Alicia Warner has Peter Labardius and Sam Cosentino.
Thank you, Roger. Peter and Sam, of course, joining me. They did the game last night in Owen Sound, and guys, has tonight's outcome so far surprised you at all?
I don't know if it's completely surprised me. It's nice to see a little bit more pushback from Owen Sound. They show you why they won 46 games and won a great Western Conference. But one thing about the team you guys see all the time, they play truly like a team, and they are full marks for their 2-0 lead.
The goaltending change, Sam. What did you think of it when you first heard about it, and what do you think of it now?
Well, you know what? When Michael Zador came in last night as the backup, I think that precipitated that a move was going to be made at some point, and then after 5 goals and then the empty netter, of course, I thought he'd see some time in last night's game just to get him back into the swing of things, but not really a huge surprise considering that 3 goaltenders have minutes played here in the playoffs so far. Stager gets a chance to start the 2 games. It doesn't work out, and Zador is playing pretty well tonight.
These two gentlemen are going to see plenty of these two teams by the end of this month in this MasterCard Memorial Cup, the 20th to the 29th, guys.
Good to see both of the guys in the rink here tonight. And Peter, who's been spending his entire winter out in Alberta where it never stops snowing in Calgary.
Yeah, but doing a great job as a voice in Calgary. And the MasterCard Memorial Cup on the way, May 20th. Get your tickets, Ticketmaster.ca.
Just out of reach of Casey Cizikas. A stretch pass out there with Shug and Smith-Pelly. Back to the blue line. Shot deflected in front. And Zador got enough to just dribble to his left. Boy, I don't know if this line of Cizikas, Shug, and Smith-Pelly have been off the ice here in the last couple of minutes.
Well, they had that timeout. That got him the extra shift there. And while Dave Cameron rolls the lines, they get a little bonus time there.
Cramarosa will play it back, and D'Orazio on the ice with Fleming. Fleming takes the hit, watch the puck. Erdekop with his backhand that goes wide of the mark, and Jamie Wise looks up, sees Wilson coming, and gave up the puck and let Wilson take blast. But Wilson actually accomplished what he wanted to do with the hit. Berdnikov comes up with it. From the circle, Gilbert shot in a crowd, and they score! For the first time since the 5:17 mark of the first period, the Owen Sound attack have regained the lead. It's 4-3.
Well, you gotta like the poise tonight of the Owen Sound attack, and again, they create traffic in front of Anderson. Not sure if Anderson just didn't see that. Shaw likely will get the goal, but watch the traffic in front. Shot comes through, there's bodies all over, and it is Shaw that had to stick down. Yes, he just redirected it past Anderson through a crowd. 11-20, second of the night for Shaw. And the Owen Sound attack, full value for this 4-3 lead, especially the way they played in this quiet second period. And the problems they had last night in terms of discipline and penalties, non-existent here in period 2. Very impressive for the visitors.
Well, J.P. Anderson's not accustomed to seeing 4 up on the board against him in these playoffs.
Especially on 14 shots.
Yeah. The defensive game is a work in progress for St. Mike's on this night, and you can credit Owen Sound with the reason for that. But Major's kind of standing still on pucks here, and even that play was started as Mayer with the intercept. Onside is Mika Parton. He'll see some ice time now, and that shot goes wide of the mark. Dave Cameron will start giving some boys some ice here. But that play was started. Jamie Wise saw the hit from Wilson coming, stepped away from the puck and gave it up to Berdnikov, who brought it out front. Well, Garrett Wilson, here's a giveaway. Tarazio, and we have a penalty coming up against Owen Sound. Or is it against Mississauga? Sorry, it's Tarazio.
Tarazio, he touched the puck, and actually it's not Tarazio. It is D'Souza who's going off at 12:10. Power play Owen Sound. And that sound you hear is maybe the momentum of this series just tilting a little bit Owen Sound's way at this moment. Let's look at the play.
Comes down on a stick right there.
Yeah, chopped at the stick, broke. There's the evidence. Flashing the call. Power play Owen Sound.
All right, back to special teams. Well, we're used to this. Stanish. Our side for Hishin. DeMello on him. I think if there's one characteristic you could point to tonight for each team, for Mississauga, they're just a tad slower to the puck tonight in their coverage. And add to that, the Owen Sound attack are a bit quicker getting to spots. And you put the two together, and you got a 7-goal game with the visitors up 4-3. And as Peter Lombardi has said, this is a team that won a ton of games. And 2-0 should not fool anyone into thinking that this series was going to be easy. Back to the point. Blacker and Stanish. Blacker really yet to put his stamp on this series, and boy, can he do that. Malik Pick's got it now, takes the shot, and that one up into the air, nobody quite sure where it was. Jimmy Wise ahead for Fleming, and now it's Canton. Stripped to the puck, a little too casual. Exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, I got to move that puck quicker than that. I would add to that.
Here's a battle behind the net. Cramarosa trying to come up with it.
I would add to that description, Dan, too, as well. Owen Sound's had 4 scoring chances in this game. They have 4 goals.
Lead pass for Shaw, looking for the hat trick early, isn't he? Out there with Berdnikov, who comes up with it. Shot 16-15, Mississauga. From the corner, here's a backhand, scores! Mike Halmo! And a 2-goal lead for the visitors as they score another on the power play. It's 5-3 in the second.
Little too easy there for Owen Sound, and a nice play by the power play, but Major's defense not clear in the front of the net. Let's watch the play and look at Almo just on an innocent looking backhand. See if there's any kind of a deflection here. Nope, there's no deflection. There was traffic in front, but Almo in an easy backhand, short power play goal, 13:38, 2 goals in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. And Owen Sound in a 2-goal lead, and J.P. Anderson not having his best game of the playoffs.
Here's Maidens as the attack keep pouring it on. Kitson. Boy, Mississauga look for the first time in a long time, and it's just the stretch of the game, but a little bit miffed. We've seen them come back in these playoffs, so from deficits before. There's a pass ahead for Kitson, Mayer in the corner. Being down 2 is not commonplace, Roger, but they have been down 2 in this postseason, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
Might be 3 if Helix can lean in a little bit.
Many times, and I would suggest both goaltenders tonight are not having the game of their careers, so there's an opportunity for this still to swing back and forth.
Mayer lost the handle. Stays with it. Back-to-back nights here for these teams. Canton down to the corner, and that's intercepted. Maidens with it again. Canton stands Maidens up at center ice. If there was a time that the Majors' depth, you would, as a Mississauga supporter, hope would come to the surface, would be right now. As Petgrave jumps into a hole. Nice play. Petgrave's shot is blocked. Stays with it. McNarty as well. And Schoenmakers. I don't think he touched that one, but it got outside the blue line nonetheless. The Attack feeling pretty good about themselves right now as that puck is tipped. No icing on the play. Cramarosa gets there ahead of Kevin Cutting. Schoenmakers holds it. Tried to feed Shug in front of the net. Now Wilson. Only one more by Owen Sound has really put the Majors in big trouble here. 4.5 to go in the period. Gotta think Mississauga needs the next goal of this game. Here's Shug trying to send it out front, and McNarty hops on the rebound. Pass up ahead to Wilson at center ice. Fishing out there with him as well in Gilbert. And well played by Canton as he just took the ever-dangerous number 17 to the board.
Shug's got one glove. It's down by the Owen Sound goal, and he's staying out there. Now got one from the bench.
Fleming ahead to Shug, who's knocked to the ice. Smith-Pelly keeps on going. Tries a tough angle shot. Majors change it up. Kept in by Percy. Behind the net, Smith-Pelly. Gilbert on him. Smith-Pelly trying to jam it in. Majors going for one of those blue-collar goals down to the side of the net. And the Attack trying to use their speed to counter out. Percy stays with Berdnikov, who's had himself a strong second period, hasn't he? Number 8 stays with it, along with Shaw. Needless to say, it's been his best game of the series with 2 goals.
And he has been terrific both ends of the ice, using the speed element and really moving that puck.
There's a blind pass. Smith-Pelly hops on it, takes the shot. Save made by Zador. Well out, no traffic. Smith-Pelly chases after it. Cizikas in the corner. Stanish pins him to the boards. Blacker waiting for the free puck. Smith-Pelly comes down and says you won't get it without a battle. 3:09 to go, second period. 5-3 Owen Sound. An even strength and power play goal to lead this particular period 2-0. After a 3-3 first, Shaw bumped at the blue line. Percy. Shaw stays with it. Brace, Durazio, and McNarty. This looks like the Attack have more jump in them right now. I don't know what the reason is, but there's another indication. Pass is just not clicking with Mississauga.
Yeah, it's confidence brought on by some taking advantage of their scoring chances tonight, Dan. It's much easier to generate and muster energy when you're up 5-3 than when you're down 5-3.
Maidens with a tip. Durazio. Played behind the net. Under pressure. Durazio gets it back again. One of the reasons why the Majors probably have the ability to come back more than most teams this year is in part because of the style of play we talk about all the time. They're down 2-0, but here's a chance in front. Tip! And somehow Zador kept it out. Penalty coming up to Petgrave for cross-checking.
That's a huge save by Michael Zador.
Anderson's gone to the bench. Rogers Durazio keeps the puck. Brings it down low. Throws it in front. Cizikas in open ice. No shot. Carente. He'll take a stab at it. It's tipped wide. Still Majors with a goaltender out. Delayed penalty coming up. Brace throws it in front. Flick can't get the shot away. Loose at the side of the net. Nobody's touched it. Referee lost sight and blows the whistle.
Michael Zador comes up big there. No question about it. Huge save. The Majors get a little bonus power play time. And Zador closes the door. Petgrave goes to the penalty box at 18:27. But bookmark those saves if the Attack can hold on here in this one. Already up 5-3. We'll watch the flurry of activity in front. There's D'Souza, the pass. Look at that save. That's a huge save off Flick. There's the penalty. Petgrave on the cross-check, and the Majors kept it going, kept the pressure on. And Zador with another save as Mark Reeds encourages his troops. Hershey on the power play and stopped by Zador. Shug after it along with Wilson. Stanish comes up with it. Zizekas cuts off his hard around attempt to clear. So the Owen Sound attack will take this, won't they? Just eat up some clock along the boards there, and comes loose. Glove down by Canton. Shug turns it down to the corner. Smith-Pelly. Stanish. Smith-Pelly's not walked out of the corner as we're accustomed to seeing him. As soon as he gets the puck, 23 is a marked man. They know if he gets a head of steam coming out of the corner, they're in trouble. There's another giveaway by the Majors. As I said, there's just something not on tonight. Hishin. Anderson doesn't see it! Rebound, and JP still can't glove it.
Boy, JP Anderson is really fighting the puck in the Majors' goal.
Majors come back the other way. Smith-Pelly deflection, and that one onto the stick of Shaw. Kept in by Fleming. Zizekas looking for Canton and the Majors. They have this penalty-killing group in trouble. If they can get the puck deep again, they're dog-tired. Majors tired as well as Canton goes to the bench. Rob Flick just shoved to the ice. Strong play defensively by Blacker. And now Owen Sound will clear with 34 seconds to go. Only 5 in the period. Shaw wants his hat trick. Now takes the shot, and Anderson again had to cover up on the rebound with .3 left on the clock. And JP wants to get to that room probably quicker than anybody else and just say, all right, third period's a new game. I need to pitch a shutout.
Very hard to criticize JP Anderson as we see that shot, and he was rather fortunate that Wilson didn't get a better whack at that puck after the huge rebound he gave up. He's been sensational. He's the reason the Majors are here, but he is having an off night in the Majors goal right now. And the Majors, as we've seen in this postseason, don't really have another option they're 100% comfortable with. We'll see what happens in period 3.
Right off the draw, attempted shot on goal. Does it work? And the Majors, this is the test to go to their room and come back without their heads down. They trail by 2. The Owen Sound trying to make on track, trying to make a series out of this, and they're well on their way.
They certainly are. A very different feel to this game, a very different feel to this series. We got lots of time still remaining. Well, let's go to the panel led by Ben Ennis and get their thoughts on this 5-3 game. Ben?
Thank you very much, Raj. Back up top the Hershey Center. I am Ben Ennis, joined by Jesse Messier and Matt Scooby. Guys, another wild second period, but the Majors give up the 2 goals. The one on the power play, D'Souza taking the slashing penalty, and pretty much a penalty you have to call every single time, especially seeing as though he got a shot on goal after that slashing penalty. But the Majors defensively, and JP Anderson maybe not their strongest game of the postseason right now.
No, they're looking a little loose in their own net zone, and I think it's really starting from the offensive zone though. They're not getting any play down low, so every time they get in the zone, it's just straight rush back. So it's a lot of skating for the defensemen to be doing when they're not getting the offensive zone pressure. So they need to tighten up around their own net for sure, and they need to let JP see those shots, especially that shot from the point. There was a lot of traffic in front. It took a weird bounce, so he didn't really have much chance on that. But the D are going to have to clear out the front of the net for him to be able to do his job.
Full credit to the Owen Sound attack for coming back and finally, having a very good period of hockey. We haven't seen that from them. We saw it in spurts, I think, in game 1-2 in the first period when they came out and played well and went into the first intermission, tied 1-1. But finally, some defensive zone coverage. I think as much as the Majors aren't getting that pressure in the offensive zone, credit the attack defensemen too right now, and the defensive core for holding strong. Michael Zador having a lot of trouble with the rebound though. Looked a little bit better, made a couple of big saves at the end of that period, but having some rebound issues. If you're the Majors, you got to get some more shots towards him and crash the net at this point. Yeah, we haven't seen this at all during the postseason. The Majors losing at home. They haven't done it. They've only lost once all playoffs, but have not lost at home, and they've won 24 of their last 25 games overall going back to the regular season. Still 20 minutes to go for the Majors, but in trouble against the Owen Sound attack, trailing 5-3. Alicia Warner's got Chris D'Souza down at ice level, and we'll get to her in just a second. But gentlemen, the Majors, as I mentioned, haven't lost at home all playoffs. They've looked great. I guess there was the one game against the Niagara Ice Dogs where they were in trouble, trailing after 2 periods, came back to win that game. But here, in serious trouble. What do you think Dave Cameron's going to say to his team heading into the third, Jesse?
They're going to have to be real disciplined here in the third. You know, they're going to be facing a real tough Owen Sound team in the third period. It's almost as close as it gets to a must-win for Owen Sound, and with them having the lead, they're really going to look to shut them down. So they're going to have to work through. It's going to be a tough period, but it's definitely something they can do.
They face a little bit of adversity now. In the regular season, they trailed 19 games. In only 19 games, they were down by 2 or down going into the third period. They won 9 of those games, so that's almost 50%. In the playoffs, they've been trailing and going into the third period 4 times. 3 times they've won that game. The 2-goal deficit a little bit now. We're in a little bit of a different stage where there's the biggest crowd here I think we've seen at the Hershey Center in a very long time, if not all season. So a little bit different circumstances, but finally I think a little bit of adversity for this team. And this is kind of going forward now. We'll see what they're actually made of.
And I don't think the Majors expected to keep up their torrid pace on the power play, where they were 7 for their last 11 at one point in the first period. But the power play certainly cooling off there in the second period. More game notes coming up in this second intermission with the Majors trailing the Owen Sound attack 5-3 here in Game 3 of the Rogers OHL Championship Series.
Hi, I'm Bobby Gillespie, president of the Owen Sound Rotary Club. I'm here to thank our Owen Sound Attack Challenge sponsors. Their contributions make Rotary projects a reality.
Welcome back atop the Hershey Center with the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors trailing the Owen Sound attack 5-3 through 40 minutes of play of Game 3 of the Rogers OHL Championship Series. I am Ben Ennis, joined by Jesse Messier and Matt Scooby. Jesse, of course, former captain of the Majors. And gentlemen, something you were mentioning just off air here in that break, Jesse, about how the Majors, they play a physical style of hockey usually. Dave Cameron preaches that. Maybe they got away from that a little bit, though, in that second.
Yeah, definitely they did. It seems like Owen Sound just wants the puck more of them right now, and they're doing what it takes to win those battles in the corners. Whereas St. Mike seems to be going in those corners a little more sluggish, a little more lackadaisical, which is not what got them to where they are now. They're going to have to get those pucks in deep, and they're going to have to win those battles. And it's not going to be easy because Owen Sound wants it, but they're going to have to impose their will on them. They're going to have to play the body and be hard to play against.
And I think we kind of saw it near the end of that third period when they went on to the power play as well, that we kind of saw, and really the lead came. Now we're down 2 goals. Now it's time to pick it up, and now we go forward. It's kind of like, okay, well, now it's time to go. So what do you do at this point? But I think that I agree with Jesse that you have to be like, at this point, pick it up, winning those one-on-one battles along the wall, getting the puck out of it. There were a couple of really bad neutral zone turnovers as well in that first pass out of the zone from the defenseman. But the Majors have to be better on, be crisper with the passes, and just want it more. And that's exactly it. Owen Sound wants it more right now, and that's why they're winning this hockey game.
Well, we got to talk about Michael Zador, because we thought maybe there would be a goaltending change heading into that second period. At least we thought it was a possibility. It didn't happen, and Zador was very good, didn't allow a goal in that second period, and had a great save on the delayed power play for the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors, stopping that one. Could have been a 1-goal game at that point, but seems like he's getting a little bit more confidence. Still a lot of rebounds, though, for Zador and Anderson as well, really.
Yeah, they are. They're both putting out a lot of rebounds. The difference is Owen Sound has guys in front of the net to put in those loose pucks, and Mississauga's going to get more traffic in front of the net for those rebounds. You know, they got to want those rebounds to put them in, because they're going to be there. It's show it all, period.
And I think that, you know, Zador is just a rust issue. The guy hasn't played. He played 4 games when they got in trouble earlier in the playoffs, but also at this point, watching him coming out to try and play the puck as well. He struggled behind the net. The puck went by him a couple of times, so it was just a non-game action for Michael Zador at this point. They've seen his struggle. But I think, again, like I mentioned earlier, get the puck towards the net for the Majors. Crash the net, crash the boards. Another basketball terminology. Goodness, we are playing hockey tonight. But just get the puck towards the net. We saw it. Look what happened on the Owen Sound goal as well. Hit a couple of bodies in front. You got it from Shaw as well. So at this point, that's the Majors game plan, I think, going forward.
The Majors would like to get a pretty goal, of course. That would be the #1 priority. But if they can get a garbage goal, I'm sure they'll take it any way they can get it. We talked about Mark Reed's talking to his team about needing to be a little more disciplined when the Majors scored 3 power play goals in the first period. Owen Sound scoring a power play goal in the second period. Majors take a couple of penalties. They're going to be on the power play to start the third. But do you think, Jesse, Dave Cameron is preaching discipline with his team here heading into the third period as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially coming to the third period here, you don't want to be down short at any time, because it's getting to that point of the game where, next goal is going to be huge. Whoever gets it, it's going to be a big swing of momentum. So staying out of the box will be huge in helping to get that goal themselves.
Owen Sound, same thing here. Mark Reed's at work. Owen Sound didn't take a penalty that second period after a handful of them in the first. So give Reed a little bit of credit for talking to his team and kind of cracking down. Sorry, they did take 1 penalty. They put behind the net, and Petgrave, I think,
is really the culprit at this point, and he really needs to get it together. You're going to single an individual out at this point on the attack. It has to be Matt Petgrave. He really has to stay more disciplined, and no matter what your coach says to you, it has to stay that way from this point on if you want to continue to win this game, and if you want to see his ice time, I think, throughout this third period as well. There's a number of players playing in this game that were high draft picks in the OHL. The OHL draft coming up this weekend. For more on that and rest of the story from around the CHL, is thrown upstairs to Brad and Will.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, with not a lot going on the ice, or nothing right now across the CHL. We're still awaiting the drop of the puck for that 10:30 Western Conference or Western Hockey League game. We can look at the OHL draft. The selection takes place tomorrow, and there's one particular name a lot of people are likely to keep an eye on, and of course it's Max Domi.
That's right, Max Domi, who is unsurprisingly the son of Ty Domi. And
really?
He's going to be in this OHL draft, and Brad and I have actually had the pleasure of calling some GTHL hockey games this season on Rogers TV, and we've covered the Don Mills Flyers AAA minor midget team, which Max Domi did play for, and Ty Domi was an assistant coach. And Ty did tell us earlier this season that he was looking to go the collegiate route and maybe go to Michigan or a U.S. college, but it looks like he's going to be ending up in the OHL draft. And the question is, where is he going to end up? And that's what we're going to find out tomorrow. But he's a very good player with a lot of offensive potential. So that's one name to look out for in the draft tomorrow.
Complete 180 other that, or you're calling Ty Domi a liar?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Just quoting the facts.
The Barrie Colts take first overall, and they won't have to decide anything. It won't be Max Domi first. We know that. Yep. Because the Colts have already announced who they're picking, Will, and it's a fairly special player because he's younger than everybody else.
That's right. If you're familiar with the very interesting rule that the OHL has introduced with John Tavares a few years ago, it's the exceptional player status, and that's been granted to the player that Barrie is going to take first overall, the 15-year-old defenseman, and his name is Aaron Ekblad, and he is apparently a very, very good physical player, a very good all-around defenseman. 6'3", 200 pounds. He's only 15 years old, and he's going to be entering the OHL, a bit younger than everyone else. So we'll see how he does in his first year in the league. He's drawn comparisons to Chris Pronger, and of course we saw Mr. Tavares go through the same thing. He got the exemption when he was 15. Yep. So following in those footsteps, obviously very interesting. Domi, Ekblad, and many other interesting players to keep an eye on, future stars. So that goes down tomorrow in the OHL. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll be checking that out on OntarioHockeyLeague.com. Joined now by Rick Radomski, Peter Curtis back with us, and Rick works with the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors in the front office. And Rick, we want to talk about the Memorial Cup coming up May 20th. I mean, we've been talking about it beginning of the season. It seemed like so long ago. It's right here, a couple of weeks away. Talk about the Memorial Cup and how people can still get some tickets.
Yeah, you know, it's been a whirlwind of a year. It almost seems yesterday that we got the announcement, and we're less than 2 weeks away, and it's pretty exciting. And right now we're in the phase of selling the last little bit of tickets that we have left, so we're pretty excited about that. We just released a new ticket package where fans can get any games during the week from May 23rd to the 27th, and the championship final for $225.
Now, Rick, a lot of folks, they're going to buy tickets, but I have a funny feeling you buy your ticket for your evening game, you should be showing up really early, maybe even missing work, to take fun in all the other things you got planned.
It's going to be an event where you want to take a few days off. We've got...
You're saying people should take time off work?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what do they tell their bosses? Rick told me to?
Absolutely. The majors need them to come out and buy tickets. The beer gardens are going to be a great event. We've got live music happening after every game, DJs before the game. It's going to be a great atmosphere. We've got 2 other community hockey rinks that are going to be full of games and contests and autographs from NHL players. We've got a great spectacle that's going to happen. The Hockey Hall of Fame is going to have a big exhibit. It's definitely a place to bring your family, your friends, and you know what, exactly, come a little bit early and enjoy the festivities.
Hey, you know what, even bring your enemies, because there's no better way to turn an enemy into a friend than bring them to the Memorial Cup. Why? You don't want to limit the enemies as well. Bring the enemies as well.
Well, we encourage hockey rivalries. So, we got some great fans here from Owen Sound. They're going to be at the Memorial Cup, so it's going to be one of those events where a lot of fans from different areas, but at the end of the day, they're all cheering for good hockey, and it's going to be a great time.
Well, let's talk about the fans here today for the Ontario Hockey League, Rogers Ontario Hockey League Championship Series. Great crowd right here today for this Friday night game. could be, looks like there will be, the way this game is panned out. Of course, 2-goal lead. Who knows what's going to happen here in the third period. But if there is a Game 5, that's also on Tuesday. So still some time to see some Ontario Hockey League Championship Series hockey as well.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I don't want to argue about what's going to happen in the third period. Dave Cameron's team always finishes strong, but should we require another game, we're going to have, well, Game 4 is on Owen Sound on Sunday, and back to Mississauga on Tuesday if we need a Game 5. It's fantastic hockey. We got fans going back and forth. Our fans are traveling to Owen Sound. Their fans are coming to Mississauga. So it's been a great series, and you know what? Hopefully it's only going 4 games, but if it goes longer, we'll happily watch it.
It'd be bittersweet for you, I'm sure, if the Majors don't pull this off. But the Majors 20 minutes away from at least needing a Game 5 here as the Owen Sound Attack in control of this game 5-3 through 40 minutes of play. Third period coming up. It's the Ontario Hockey League Championship Series on Rogers TV.
Hi, I'm Bobby Gillespie, president of the Owen Sound Rotary Club. I'm here to thank our Owen Sound Attack Challenge sponsors. Their contributions make Rotary projects a reality.
There's the man that is feeling the weight of a team on his shoulders, well, throughout the entire playoffs, but really for the next 20 minutes, maybe more so than he has in these entire playoffs. J.P. Anderson down on the other end. Michael Zador. Roger has settled in after a shaky start to the game. He's kept his team more than in it. They've got a 2-goal lead.
Michael Zador is very good in that second period, no question about it. J.P. Anderson, it is difficult to even criticize him because he has been the man. He has been brilliant. He has been one of the best goaltenders in the league. Dave Cameron knows that, but Dave Cameron basically is going with the one goaltender system throughout these playoffs, so J.P. Anderson remains in goal.
Want to congratulate a 15-year-old from Bell River, Ontario, the Jack Ferguson Award winner, as the player selected first in the OHL priority selection, which is coming up, Aaron Ekblad.
And Ekblad, of course, we know because it's been announced by the Barrie Colts that they will take him number 1. The OHL priority selection is tomorrow, and I know so many families are having a kind of a bit of a restless night, Dan. Their kids are waiting to be drafted to see where their futures unfold, but this league will look after you. We can say that. We've been around this league for a lot of years. Best of luck to all the kids, the parents who will join the Ontario Hockey League in the draft, and of course to the first overall pick announced tonight by the OHL.
15 years of age, just a second since. Of course, you've seen much of John Tavares when he played his junior career.
JT got the same exemption. 15-year-olds not usually eligible for the draft, but a second exemption has been made and only 2, so that makes them pretty special. Good luck to everybody tomorrow.
34 points in 30 games for Sun County before putting up 21 points in 18 postseason games. So yes, as Roger said, congrats. And congratulations to everybody who will be part of that draft for the Ontario Hockey League and the future stars of this game. Right now, the stars of right now for the Majors need a period here to make a statement. And of course, the Owen Sound Attack, more than capable of winning the Ontario Hockey League Championship. Proving a point here tonight. This thing is far from done. They have looked good, and here they come again. And Hishin just fanned on the shot, and then even the second chance off the side of the goal. Anderson's pad wasn't right up against the post yet. That had all the earmarks of a dangerous play early for the Majors. By the way, that very quick remaining seconds of the power play for Mississauga done. We're back to 5-on-5.
Well, and that was the end of the kill, and a big one for Owen Sound. Their penalty kill been much better as this game has went on. They call icing there, and they're the Owen Sound bench. And that face-off might wind up back at center. No, they are going to take it back down. Linesman is definitive. Icing call. Certainly have every opportunity to complain about that one. And I thought that puck was touched an area.
That was an iffy one, that's for sure. And that being said, as Cameron Brace went back to the bench, coach was giving it to him more than he was the official. So Ehlers giving a bump on the boards, and that puck goes up over the glass into the crowd.
Well, the Majors' forte is getting the 2-goal lead and protecting it. Now that responsibility lies with Owen Sound. They have played a very good road game tonight. They took the 1-0 lead in this game. Crazy first period. Special teams dominated. 6 goals. but 2 unanswered goals in the second period. And Dan, you alluded to earlier, Majors are the team that seemed to dominate for whatever reason the second period, take control of games. That has not happened here at all this evening. Owen Sound the better team in the second period, and now we'll see as the referees and linesmen are having a conference. I don't know what this is about.
Well, and we're going to have, oh, we're going to drop it off. I thought they're going to go start talking to coaches now, which would hold us up even longer. Well, how about we face it off again?
Didn't do it properly.
Michael Zador only playing his 5th game, but as far as statistics go, he leads the OHL goaltenders in the playoffs.
Well, he's been great when he's been called upon, hasn't he? That's why they use the 3 goalies the way they do.
He'll be tested now, perhaps. Here comes Mayer, but Ernestov comes over, doesn't take the holding call, took that one hand and wrapped it around. Referee says keep going. Here's a shot, scores from the point. An early goal for the Majors, and they trail by 1. Fleming took the shot. We'll have to wait and see who gets credit.
I keep talking about the Majors need to shoot pucks at Michael Zador. Shoot pucks. They shoot pucks at Michael Zador, and they've got their 4th at 137. And it's once again a 1-goal game. Fleming's shot probably hit something. Let's see if we can check it up on the replay. Hartman gets it back to the point. Quick shot. All kinds of traffic over the shoulder. But
I think it hit his glove, maybe.
Might have. We'll pick it up here.
Can't tell.
I know. Too much traffic in front to see it. Doesn't really matter from the Majors' perspective. It's a goal. Now, does the referee want to look at this? I wonder. Nope, they're not going to look at it. They're just going to drop the puck.
So they're giving it to Fleming. His first of the postseason. Mayer was in the area, but perhaps it looked like maybe it took a deflection off the glove of Zador.
Well, we'll see what the scorer says on that one. I'll have a better look at it then, perhaps from there, but really tough to see from that angle if it was just straight from Fleming or if it hit something in front. You think they might have looked at the goal again if it hadn't been a direct shot or off Zador's glove. Referee was perfectly positioned there.
Here comes Canton for Mississauga. Canton carries over the line. He puts one on, and Zador holds on to that one. And Canton even was going glove side with that shot.
Well, you see Michael Zador there. We talked about the confidence. He certainly did not have the complete poise there. As I mentioned, this is not the goaltending all-star game tonight by any stretch of the imagination. And it is Brett Fleming getting credit for that goal.
Face-off will come to the right of Zador. Rob Flick against Keelis, and Flick won it cleanly. Durancio snaps one on, and that's a statement there from Zador saying, hey, the glove is fine. That one just beat me.
And that was a good save with the glove. No doubt darting it out. Quick shot. We'll watch it on the replay again. Quick draw win. The way to do it.
Another clean face-off win by the Majors, and is taken down to the corner by Kitson. Kitson spins out front. Loose puck, and Zador down to cover up again. Majors stepped up their game a little bit early in this 3rd period.
They got some energy now, don't they? No, they're down by a goal, and I'm sure the message on the bench, I'm not the only guy saying put some pucks here at the Owen Sound goal. Zador with a couple of good saves after giving up that goal to make it 5-4.
Riley Brace with a shot. Well, we've certainly seen Mississauga with a number of 2-goal leads over the course of the season, and we often talk about how it's the toughest lead to protect. Add the playoffs and being on the road to that mix, and it becomes even tougher. Of course, you'd rather have the 2-goal lead than be trailing by 2.
It's 5-4 now, so.
Yeah.
But you're all right, Dan. It's just 1-goal lead. Everybody is so cognizant of what has to be. I think in an OHL final, though, I think the 2-goal lead, what we talk about in the regular season, is everybody knows what's at stake here. Everybody knows what the score is and how important these games are.
Well, and both teams are very well aware now of each other. And the Majors know the Owen Sound attack put 5 up against them, and the Owen Sound attack certainly know the Majors can come back themselves. Here's a centering pass. Tip back, and the shot on, stopped by Zador. D'Souza, no doubt now about it, as Roger mentioned. The Majors are just winding and firing everything at the Owen Sound goal.
That's the strategy, and you can see it there, Dan. It's not we're trying to talk about something we've talked about all night, but D'Souza, maybe they don't do that earlier in the game. Now it's turn around, fire it over there, see what happens. 1-goal game.
Off the draw. Petgrave behind the net. Halmo, far side, can't tip it out. Majors keep it in. Nice play down the wall, and Mayer has it back to the point. Shot goes off the leg. And now a chance for the attack to move it up. Here's Shaw. He's got 2 tonight. Tips it deep. Hamo gives chase, but he's held up just enough by Mika Partanen. Boy, it was Mika Partanen back at the point there in that last push by the Majors. Don't see that often. Here's Percy now. Defenseman tries to stick handle over the line. Delayed offside as Mayer shoots it in. And Mississauga change everybody up. Fresh legs out. Here comes Shug, Cizikas, and Smith-Pelly. Verdnikov had a great second period. Lost the puck, and the Majors have it back again. Settling it down a little bit now, Mississauga, as they look to push. Here comes Canton. Aggressive Canton down the left wing. Squeezes by Semic, and now behind the net. Hishton stays with the Majors defenseman. Cizikas has come up top to take Canton's spot. As Canton stays down low, Smith-Pelly's shot is deflected wide. And now Hishton lost it in his skates. Cizikas comes down. That opens it up for Brace on a breakaway. One-on-one with Anderson. This time Anderson staying with him enough. Kept in by Wilson. And now the Majors counter. But you could see that happening when Casey Cizikas, who came back to cover, jumped into the slot to try and knock the puck away.
Third breakaway for Owen Sound in the game. The first 2 scored, and Anderson kept that pad down.
Well, you just don't see Mississauga make those kinds of errors in judgment defensively.
You talk about Owen Sound. This is their cognizant of what they're doing here. Now watch Hishton loses the puck in his skates. Just a quick pass. Trapped out. Brace goes down. Watch Anderson extend the pad. Now Brace lost control of that puck. Mello got back, but Brace lost control of that puck.
And the reason he lost control, we saw that Anderson's pad stayed with him, and he tried to get the puck up on end.
Puck was on the pad.
Yep. Brace now from the wall. That deflects. Takes a weird hop, too, up into the crowd. And, boy, aren't we thankful there's netting behind the nets? You know, we don't think about it anymore because it's commonplace all the time. You think how many
pucks
times
would be going in the stands, eh?
Oh, and people be ducking out of the way. And, back in the day, Raj.
Back in the day is right. That's something that's relatively new. I'm trying to remember when that incident happened in Columbus, you know.
Orazio. Shot doesn't get through, and now Gilbert. Ignardi tips it over the line. Riley Brace. Actually Kitson out there for the Majors, along with Rob Flick. And this line looking to have an impact on this game here tonight. They put the puck deep in front, looking for Kitson. Here's a rebound. Zador makes the save, and Rob Flick goes for a little Superman dive in front of the goal.
That's the right play by Flick, though. Just charge in there. That puck squirts loose. Maybe he gets an opportunity, and the Majors are starting to get the pressure and shots at the door. The shot clock starting to open up, 26-20 in favor of the Majors. Look at the shot. Flick goes in. He goes flying, as you said, but that's the thing. Get traffic in front of Zador, make his life tough, and Maxim Kitson has words for, I believe it's cutting. Yes, it is cutting at the bench as they skate off. And this big crowd tonight in Hershey Center, it is a big crowd, starting to cheer on the Majors.
Fifth round pick of the Lightning looks on as he is forced to make another save, and the rebound taken away by his defense. Petgrave now will skate it to center ice. Left wing side. Partanen stays with him and takes him down in the corner. Nothing wrong with that. Puck was there. Just a shove to the ice. Look out. That's an awkward bounce. Verdnikov hammering away at it. Side post. Can't knock it in. Mika Partanen comes up with it. Referee watching as Hamo and Canton are tied up. Canton's stick is caught in Hamo's skate. Now they separate as back the other way comes Mayer. Mayer trying to squeeze around Semic. Saws on the puck behind the net. Coming down, DeMello's shot. That takes a deflection. Verdnikov now. Up for shot, center ice. Intercepted. Shug weaves his way over the line. Lost the handle on the puck. Stays with it. Has it again. Shug holds it. Still keeping it. Shug looking for some reinforcements. Majors now set it up. That shot deflects. Here comes Canton in a crowd, and that one stopped. Now Canton with it again. Majors trail by 1. Looking for the tip in front. Bouncing puck. High stick in front. Penalty coming up on the play for the Owen Sound attack. And the Majors are going the power play with a chance to tie this game. And Shug, he's all right as he gets himself up off the ice.
And referee goes over to make sure he's not cut. He's not, and he makes the proper call. Just a 2-minute minor penalty. Majors starting to get, and that's obvious. Wow. You see that one go up. Stick right under the visor. Shugs it off. Going to stay out there. Is it his turn, or is he going to skate off? He's going to skate off, and Matt Petgrave skates to the penalty box. 6:27. The Majors have 3 power play goals already tonight. All of them in the first period, though.
They've also given up a shorthanded goal tonight. Durazio up top, pressured by Hishin right away. Boy, that puck pressure up top by Owen Sound, not letting the Majors set up. So it's down low they go. Mayer, Durazio. Our side, Durazio gets it back again. Fleming's gone down the wall. Up top, Mayer, last man back, takes a shot of that one wide of the mark. Hishin hammers it outside the line. Now another race for it. Durazio against Wilson. Wilson almost went for the cross-check instead of the puck. Hits and comes up with it. Boy, he was working hard, though, Wilson, to get down the ice. Here come the Majors to center. Fleming, offside. No, play stays onside. Fleming keeps it in. Flick from the face-off circle. Shot stopped by Zador. Kitson. Fleming's out front in the slot, holds it, far side. Here comes the shot, and that one wide of the mark. And it was a hard one. It won't be kept in here by Fleming. Canton laid into it. Shaw's got 2 and breathing all over the shoulder of Fleming, and Mayer tips it back. 52 seconds left in the power play for the Majors. They trail it 5-4, but as you can tell, Canton not in any hurry to push the puck up the ice until they're set to go. And here comes the captain, Casey Cizikas. Puts it down on the wall after it himself around Gilbert. Cizikas traps it on the wall again. McNarty with a chance now to freeze the puck and eat some time off of the clock. Smith-Pelly is Percy coming down from the point far side. Puck stays behind the net. Percy has it now from the corner. Canton up top, all alone. Canton didn't risk the deflection. Shug. Canton this time. The lane is there, and the rebound is kicked out.
Big rebound, but Cizikas couldn't get the stick on it, and he gets caught up here as Heelis comes down.
Heelis, Canton careful not to draw a penalty on the play. 5 seconds left in the power play. Heelis, great job, is now brace, and Canton stayed away from taking the penalty there as well.
Huge penalty kill for Owen Sound. 8.5 minutes into this third period, Dan, as the Majors power play stalls.
Petgrave back onto the ice, plays it off the boards to center. Fired back in by Cizikas. Top line for the Majors goes to the bench, and they are looking tired. This is the second game in as many nights for both of these teams. Majors trail by 2 to start the period. Hishin wants to get that back to a 2-goal lead, and it's stopped by Anderson. Bouncing puck to the corner. Blacker with his face to the glass. Stripped to the puck, and the Majors come up with it. Jamie Wise, far side. Pass underneath the heel of the stick. Even cutting, backing up off the board. Schoenmakers traps it, fires it right back to the line. Offside is that hit Wise.
Well, we talked in the second period how this feels like the OHL final. I tell you, David Parenti and the Majors are feeling it now. 10:52 to go in the third period. That's lots of time in a 5-4 game. Hey, let's give a word to the referees here, who were always, everybody likes to criticize the officials. At the start of the game, Durazio got that penalty early. Then Owen Sound took 2 straight penalties. It looked like it was going to be a penalty-filled game. Teams adjust, and now, free-flow game. And the referee's point was taken and accepted by both these teams. Now we got an even hockey game here in terms of that. I don't know what that whistle was for.
Offside. Whistle was just a little bit late. Mika Parton ahead of the play a little bit. Face-off will come outside the line.
Jordan Mayer has scored in bunches this postseason for the Majors. Had a couple of 2-goal games and has been one of the solid offensive contributors. Playing with DeSouza and Partnan tonight, as Partnan back in the lineup last night in Owen Sound.
8 goals for Mayer. Durazio under pressure. Now Parente. Puck bounces away from him. Still along the boards. Mayer trying to move it up. Erdnikov working down low along with Halmo. Durazio takes a look. Up ahead, off the stick of Partnan. Just in over the Owen Sound line, and Petgrave makes the turn. Boy, can he have an effect on a game with his speed and his tenacity as he stays after the puck behind the net now to the corner. Holding it maybe a little bit too long. Petgrave sticks with it. Puts a pass off of Shaw, who knocks it down. Shaw then knocked down after the play. No penalty. Back to the point. Semis with a pass far side for Petgrave. Turns it on, rebound, kicked out. Oh boy, that was a big, fat, juicy one. Now a stretch pass taken by Partnan. Mika Partnan settles it at the last moment. Rolling puck, he couldn't settle it down. Kept in by the Majors, and now back out to center ice.
Boy, a collective hold of the breath from the Owen Sound fans, and Parton was sprung loose, but you're right, the puck was bouncing.
Rob Flick sent to the ice with a puck long gone by Halmo. That's got Dave Cameron up off the bench, or rather on the bench, to be heard. Now Rob Flick tips it over the line. Around Gilbert. 9:05 to go. Owen Sound lead by 1, trail 2-0 in the series. They need this win tonight. Majors trying to go up 3-0 with Kitson making the turn. The Russian World Junior star down to the corner with it. Kitson held up, fights off the check, still with the puck, looking for an option. Back to the point. DeMello's shot. Rebound! Stopped by Zador! Bouncing puck in the slot.
Save of the game there for Zador as the Majors were all over him.
Now it's Brace the other way against DeMello. Brace is on his own, and the shot well wide of the mark. The other Brace, Riley, for the Majors. Wilson beats him at the boards, and that's it for the rush for the Majors. What a third period. This is the Rogers OHL Championship. Trophy in the house tonight. No one will be awarded the championship just yet, but the Majors can get awful close with a win here tonight. Owen Sound trying to deny that as they get to center ice. Stripped to the puck. Shug now. He takes a hit. Cizikas for Smith-Pelly. He tried to drop for Shug. It's off his skate. Wilson doing some checking now. Back to the point. Fleming shot. He's wide of the mark. Smith-Pelly knocked off his edge as he tried to get to the net for the rebound. Kept in by Percy. What a play. Percy tried a tough pass. Cizikas spun it down low, but Blacker's there. And the lead pick plays it behind the net. Matt Stanish behind the goal, watched by Smith-Pelly, the Anaheim pick. What pressure here by Smith-Pelly. Almost a turnover. Brace in front of the net. Blacker now to center ice, weaves his way. Here comes Blacker, still in over the line. Holding, glove save, J.P. Anderson. 7:27 to go on the third. 5-4 Owen Sound.
Hey, pretty good stuff here tonight, right, folks? If you're not usually following this great league, J.P. Anderson with a great glove save. But look at this chance. Parton all the way in, just could not control it, and well, he got a shot off, but was in too deep. Another chance in front. Flick, big save there by Zador. Whacked that, and now the other way is Hishins. Glove save by Anderson. Bodies go down in front. Great back-to-back action. You're liking this? You'll like Game 4. Sunday, May 8th. 4:30 p.m. is the start time, so make note of that. 4:30, Rogers Sportsnet. Our friends Peter Labardius and Sam Cosentino will have it. And the schedule, if necessary, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, so the teams will have a little bit more breathing room between games the rest of the way in this series. And Dave Cameron taking a deep breath at the bench. 7:27 to go in the third period. His team is 2 wins away from an OHL championship, but they are also 1 goal down, and Mark Reed's team is 7:27 away from getting back into this series.
A chance to go home on Sunday, and even Steven, the series coming back here on Tuesday. Roger Lajoie will have the call for you. It's a face-off with Shaw winning the draw to the right of J.P. Anderson, and Cramarosa behind the net. Shaw pins in there, and Razio comes up with the puck. He has to Souza. Takes the pass at the line to Souza. Can't move it ahead for Mika Parton. Souza following up. Cramarosa. Grave back into Mississauga territory. The clock now starting to work in favor, though, of Owen Sound. There is a lot of time left, but now we're under that 7-minute mark. And the Majors need one to get back to level in this game. And they trailed 1-0, 5:17 into the game. And then from there, they seem to take it over with 2 quick goals. Full marks to the Owen Sound attack tonight. They do not want to be denied this win, as the left wing shoot-in is a soft one of the Majors. Will have a chance to do what they do best, and that's 1-2 passes out of the zone, and there it is to center ice. Kitson lays it off. Canton now as they hold the line. Canton gains his own and fires it off the glass. Rob Flick, far side, looks back to the point. Roller, DeMello keeps it in. Zador steers it back behind the net. Gilbert now head up as he sees the pressure coming. Majors take it away. Mayer trying to feed it down to the corner. Mayer reaching for it. Oh, and just missing. Rob Flick had it tipped away by Helis at the last moment. Now Kitson behind the goal. DeMello comes down. Kitson behind the net. centering pass. Nice job by Owen Sound to read that and clear it.
And an icing call, that's for sure, as the pressure was down. 5:49 to go in regulation time. The storyline tonight is Owen Sound answering the bell in this third game. J.P. Anderson struggling in the first 2 periods, allowing 5 goals on just 16 shots. But the story, final chapter, has not been written yet here tonight. Majors down by 1 and starting to press. The attack feeling the pressure.
Face-off win by the Majors. Percy makes a nice move to bring it a little bit lower, top of the circle, far side. Shot deflects into the mesh.
Well, the Majors controlling that puck and getting the shots, as we mentioned. It's Zador, 32 of them now. 13 in this third period, but Michael Zador has held the fort. He has been good enough tonight. That's a 1-goal lead. And you know he's going to see some pressure now. And the Majors top line, Shug, Sazika, Smith, Pelly. You wondered at some point if Dave Cameron wouldn't really shorten the bench a little bit. They're a little bit short now. These guys are getting a lot of ice time in this third period.
Percy up ahead to Smith Pelly. Down low behind the net. Blacker is there. Met by Shug, who steals it. Here's a chance! Puck bounces. Did it go in? The puck was behind Zador. The red light was on from the goal judge. Referee says no. He just points upstairs. They have to look at it, but the puck was behind Zador, but wasn't over the line.
This is a tough call. I didn't think so, but the referee, goal light goes on because the goal judge's job is to turn the goal light on when the puck goes into the net. The referee is going to go over and the video replay. Now the pressure will be on them. Let's watch, see if we can pick it up. Shug with the play. Whack that. Puck loose. Still in the crease. No, the puck did not go in before the net went on.
Well, and it depends when the whistle was blown. I mean, to be honest with you, I think the puck, well, it's awful close.
Well, we'll watch again. Let's take a look. It's awful close, but I didn't think I thought the net was already off.
It's almost simultaneous. We'll see from that angle. Their first angle was the best. I know the guys in the truck are doing their best. They might even have to do some work for the lead here, but
what a call here, though, Dan. 5:22 to go in a 5-4 game, and they got to make it. Let's watch this corner look one more time. I think the net was off, but let's see if we can pick it up. There's the puck sitting. Still there. Net off. Not in. That's not a goal. Well, it's up. All right, so do you call it when the net is off?
And when is the net off?
Well, when's the whistle? When is the net off the magnets?
Yeah, I don't think this will be a goal. There's too many factors working against this being a good goal. Did it cross the line? Yes. Wasn't that completely off of the pegs? No. But when did the whistle blow? We don't have that sound in the replay.
You know, that's another thing, too. You know, when is the net off the magnet? The net was lifted up. The magnets were showing, but when is that? Do you blow the whistle if you're the referee at that stage? We'll look at this several times, and my goodness, there's a lot hanging here on this play as we watch it again. There's the referee position. He's got perfect positioning, I'll tell you. Puck is still loose there. Puck's still loose. He sees it. Puck's still loose. The net is up, and the puck is not there yet. So, let's watch.
Not completely. Is it off, though?
Yeah, well, that's it. What's the call? It's still but the goal is clearly up, and it's not off. But when you blow the whistle in that case, what's the rule there?
Well, we've got about 60 guys on staff here. Any of them former referees, guys?
That's the question. Yeah. When is the net off the magnets?
I don't think it's a goal.
It's not a goal, I don't think.
Well, it's not a goal. He would have pointed to center ice by now. Oh, it's a goal! Wow!
Oh, my goodness!
Wow!
Mark Reed is beside himself at the bench talking to the referee.
Wow! Without knowing when the whistle was blown. So they must have had a picture with sound that we didn't have.
Well, there's a fourth look at it. And again, the whistle blown and the net off the magnets. We watch where the net is up. It's not off. It's just up. It's in there. Obviously, that's the way they look at it. Oh, my goodness.
Wow, we're tied at 5.
What an unfortunate, though, goal for Owen Sound to give up.
Never saw that coming.
That's a tough break. That's a tough break for the attack.
Well, they got to be careful. They don't take it out on the wrong people here. If they're ticked off, which they probably are, the Owen Sound attack. You want to stay aggressive but composed and not take any penalties or icing calls like that and have face-offs in your own zone. Boy, that has got to be disheartening for the Owen Sound attack. What's going on now? Dave Cameron looks over the bench, so he wants the line change, that's all.
And the crowd is being asked to make noise, and if they ever make a noise, this crowd in this hockey game right now, we've got the rule book here, and we'll have a look at this.
When the net becomes displaced accidentally, the goal frame is considered to be displaced if either both goal pegs are no longer in their respective holes in the ice, or that it has come completely off one or both pegs prior to or as the puck enters the goal.
That's a goal then.
Thanks to Ben Ennis.
Yes, that's a goal then. That's a goal.
How about Ben running the rule book up here?
Good job. That's a goal then. If that is indeed the rule, and we just read it, the other post was still on. It was only partially dislodged. The whistle doesn't blow. That's a goal.
And
by the way, who got it? Did we ever hear that?
Not yet. Tony hasn't made the announcement yet. Tony Ambrosio, in-house and public address announcer. I don't believe he has.
That's a tough call, though. My goodness.
But if it's a goal by the rule book, here comes Sean. J.P. Anderson now, his turn. Let's see who gets the goal. Here's the call. 11th of the playoffs, second of the game. .48, tied for the goal that... Boy, there was a goal in the NHL last night with the same thing. Everyone wondered, where's the puck? Is it in the net? And only... This is a bit longer delay here to find that answer out.
Tremendous camera work there, by the way, boys in the truck. Great job there, and we did get the best look at that. And now that we know what the rule is, the goal does make more sense for sure. It's a tough one to give up, but if that's the rule, then that looks to be the proper call. We're tied 5-5. You got to put it behind you, and I guess it's kind of poetic justice. Boy, what a hockey game, huh?
Mayer now with Shaw on him. Mayer takes a look back to the point. Only now does Canton show up. Big hit. Rob Flick comes through. Tipped in front. What a save by DeZor.
Boy, I'll tell you.
Or Zador. Take care. Either one. The goalie.
D'Souza did a great job turning around, getting his stick on that, and how Zador was able to continue and keep the focus. Watch. Just gets turned around, and Zador with a massive save to keep it tied at 5.
I couldn't believe he made the recovery, and that's going 5-hole all the way.
Yeah, it looked like you could see that. You could see the white space.
Well, my apologies to the Michael Zador family for that one. As we have Rob Flick now, and Zador has that one harmlessly wide of the net. And we have a penalty call coming up here. Major without his helmet, and a headshot coming out from the Owen Sound attack. And taking a penalty at the absolute worst time with 3:49 to go in a 5-5 game. My, oh my.
Wow. Wow. Jay Gilbert, the offending player. Mayer lost the helmet as a result of the hit. We'll see if we can pick it up here on the replay. Regardless of who you're cheering for in this series, you hate to see power play maybe decide this. Let's watch, though. Against the boards. Elbow to the head.
Elbow to the head, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, that's a penalty.
Face off, and the shot ricochets wide by Kenton. Majors trail by 2 to start this period. They have tied the game. They look now to take the lead back again on the power play. They've also given up a shorthanded goal tonight. And it's Hishin out there along with Garrett Wilson. McNarty scored the shorthanded goal back at 13:29 in the first, a minute after the Majors had scored on the power play. Shug after it. Cizikas. Canton at the point. Under pressure, just puts it back down to the corner. Blacker with room to fire it down the ice. And Owen Sound's done a good job, though, filling penalties here in this game tonight. Well, after that first period where everybody was all over the map.
Yeah, after the first period, they gave up 3 power play goals. A great penalty kill there. A nice poise by Blacker in particular.
Fans pick up the Let's Go Majors chant as they get the puck deep. Rob Flick on Petgrave right away. Pelly knocks it down. Rob Flick now, puts it out front, nobody there. Razio comes down off below to keep the puck deep in the zone. Fleming will do the same. Rob Flick shielding the puck. Under pressure there from Shevich behind the net. Referee says play on. Puck in their skates, but moving. Kick loose, and now Smith-Pelly. 30 seconds left. Smith-Pelly trying to go short side. Devontae gets it back again. Back to the point to Razio. Takes the shot, and Zador got a piece of it. And the attack will clear it down the ice. And now 15 seconds left in the power play.
Full marks to Michael Zador. A couple of good saves there, and great penalty kill here for Owen Sound.
Oh, you can't feel bad about the goal that tied the game, that's for sure. And now here's D'Souza, stopped by Zador, and he covers up.
Michael Zador is the story here in the third period, giving up the bit of a controversial fifth goal, but boy, what a stop here as D'Souza sprung loose by Razio. Quick snapshot, but into the pads of Zador. He's perfectly positioned. D'Souza wanted to get that shot off right away. Just 2 seconds left in the power play, and coincidental minor penalties coming up here. Brace and Blacker will go off.
Boy, you take Brace for Blacker if you're Mississauga any day. Blacker, nothing against Riley Brace, but that's one of your leading point getters on the back end. 1:51 to go. Out-of-town score just announced. The Red Wings season is not done yet, so we'll see Nick Lidstrom play at least one more game in the NHL.
Oh, you're going to see Nick Lidstrom play a lot more than one more game in the NHL. That guy's going to play.
He's coming back?
He's playing at least 50.
Think so.
Loves the game.
That's it for the Majors power play. Gilbert's out of the box.
All right, there's a sense. That's good. I hope it's not a power play goal, Dan, to be honest with you, one way or the other. I know referees have to call it, and that was a penalty, but...
Well, we talked about it after the way this game was opened by the officiating. The pressure on now to make sure that they keep the consistency. Christian trying to walk his way through, bouncing puck, and Anderson with a big stop. Cutting behind the net. And that'll knock down in front of the net, just getting up now. Stanish behind the net. By Kitson. Mello not taking his chances, fires it right back in. Keelis on the right wing. Soft pass ahead. Hishin can't strip him of the puck. Ahead for Casey Cizikas, the captain, tips it into Owen Sound territory. 1 minute to go in the third period, tied at 5. So, folks, might as well call this overtime right now. Game number 3, Majors lead the series 2-0. The attack want to get this win and have a chance to tie it up back at home. Shaw lost his stick. Majors, D'Souza off his skate. There has been absolutely nothing settled about this game tonight. It has been a herky-jerky affair that has resulted in 10 goals, and you never know how or when the next is coming. Nobody has had control of this game. Halmo with a turn. Shaw, has he got a third with 22 seconds to go to win it? No, he lost the puck. Not now anyway. Gilbert at center will hammer it back in. It takes a deflection and a bounce. Rob Flick takes a look. Moves the puck quickly. Majors. A lot of space between the defense and the forwards. Now to center ice. Here's Kitson. Kitson. Shot is deflected off the glass. He gets after the rebound with 3 seconds and hammers one wide. And we are going to overtime. 5-5. After 3 periods of play. And Kitson gets a stick in the back of the legs. And I'm sure it's... Well, it's Halmo again, who's trying to get under the skin of number 13. Well, Roger, we've got some extra hockey coming up.
We do, and there is a justice to that for sure. I'll tell you, this has been some kind of a game. 3-3 after 1. Owen Sound 2 unanswered in the second. Mississauga 2 unanswered in the third. Hence 5-5, and some overtime coming up. Let's check in with the panel led by Ben Ennis. Ben.
Thank you very much, Raj. Free hockey. Gotta love it. So great. This game has been unbelievable. Ben Ennis, Jesse Messier, Matt Scooby here on the panel here atop the Hershey Center. Jesse, you know Dave Cameron probably not too happy that his team gave up 5 goals. These type of games are exciting for the fans, exciting for us, broadcasting, and probably not as exciting for the players and the coaches, right?
Not so much, but you know, they're going to be rolling on a high after that third period there. They got back to the basics there. Like I said, they got more traffic in front of the net. Both goals were a cause of working hard in front of the net, and if they keep going with the hockey like that, it's going to keep going their way, I believe.
You saw that one from Brett Fleming as well,
the first goal, a minute, just a little bit, 30 seconds into that third period, it was just kind of throw the puck towards the net, turn around, fire it, it went through a crowd, and it went in. Very interesting call, I think. From the angles we saw on the broadcast, you're not sure if the OHL booth, the review booth, has they have the access to the overhead camera or not. But from what we saw in that goal, very interesting to see if they overturn that and call that a goal.
Yeah, that was obviously the talking point, not just now, it'll be the talking point post-game, no matter what happens in overtime. It looked like from the angles that we had that there wasn't really anything decisive that you could say for sure that puck was in, but you heard Dan Dunleavy talk about the rule, and the rule is if the pegs are still in the holes, and the net, even though it's lifted, if the pegs are still in the holes, the net is still deemed to be part of the net. The net is not dislodged, and the goal should have counted. Hard to see if the puck was over the line in time, but and then the whistle is the whole secondary thing. When was the whistle blown? Whatever. Maybe they had a better shot of it than we did. Hard to make the call on that angle, but Devontae Smith-Pelly gets his second goal of the hockey game, and the Majors get a late power play opportunity as well against the Owen Sound attack. All right, we start overtime. It's 0-0 essentially. Jesse, what do you think Dave Cameron's telling his club?
Put everything on the net. You know, anything can happen in overtime. Every team goes with that now, I believe. The more you throw the puck at the net, the more your chance to increase. So it's gonna be to play dirty and get pucks to the net from any angle, and it's just gonna be a battle for who wants that loose puck in front of the net after that.
It's kind of been a toss-up right here in the third period. We really noticed that, and Dan mentioned it too, that nobody has really had control of this game through most of the game. The one team hasn't dominated. The Majors played better in that third period than I think they had for the first 40 minutes. But it's really back and forth, and it's really, I think it's going to come down to a bounce. A bounce is going to go one way or another way, and that's what it's going to come down to. The Owen Sound attacks need this game, though. They can't go down 3-0 to this team. If they can be the first team to win here in the Hershey Center as well, that'll be a big boost for them going forward. Game 3 is always a swing game when you see it. They can get this series back to 2-1. They head home on Sunday to play in their next series. It'll be a big boost, but you know what? It's exciting for overtime, regardless.
Unbelievable game so far. Of course, the Majors have only lost one game in the playoffs so far, and none of the one loss was on the road. They haven't lost at home, and they've only lost one in their last 25 games, so the Majors on a serious roll. We'll get you set for overtime next with the Majors and Owen Sound attack, all knotted up at 5. We're headed to overtime here at the Hershey Center.
Hi, I'm Bobby Gillespie, president of the Owen Sound Rotary Club. I'm here to thank our Owen Sound Attack Challenge sponsors. Their contributions make Rotary projects a reality.
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
I love that team. So awesome to see all those highlights. Welcome back inside the Hershey Center. The Mississauga St. Michael's Majors and Owen Sound attack all tied up at 5 through 60 minutes, so they cannot decide a winner through regulation. We're going to have overtime for the first time in the series, with the Majors leading the Rogers OHL Championship Series 2-0, looking to take a 3-0 series lead. But of course, if the attack score in overtime, kind of back on serve with home ice advantage restored, because they'd be heading back to Owen Sound with the attack having a chance to even the series. I'm Ben Ennis, joined by Jesse Messier and Peter Curtis. And Jesse, I want to ask you about playoff overtime, because I think we've seen it just about every single game in the NHL so far this year, but here in the OHL, at least for the Majors, we haven't seen it much. A couple of games, one on the road, one here against the Niagara Ice Dogs, but you've been involved in a couple of long playoff overtimes. What's it like for the players? Do some guys start to tense up? Do some guys change the way they play? Give me a little insight into playoff overtime.
I think by the time it gets to overtime, a lot of guys they're working off adrenaline. You know, it's such a rush knowing that the next goal is the one that's going to win it all. Especially in a game 3 like this, momentum can swing either way after this period here. So it's something else in overtime. It's something you grow up wanting to score that winning goal. So definitely every guy's excited to be out there for this overtime, and they just got to keep playing the way they have. You know, nothing can change. It is just another period of hockey, so they got to do what they've been doing the whole game.
Yeah, a lot of potential heroes on both the attack and Majors side. Peter, I want to talk to you about that allowed goal, and we saw some angles about it. You've done some refereeing in the past in the GTHL, not in the OHL, but I think you got a unique perspective on the ruling that was made on that play. And of course, we could be talking about an angle that maybe we didn't see, that they did see in the OHL head office. What did you see on the decision made to allow that goal?
Well, it was an interesting call because you see the referee actually wash out the goal. So you're saying to yourself, was he washing it out because the puck didn't cross the line in time? But there's that camera angle, and we pulled out our rule book here. We were laughing about having it. And there's a rule that says it has to be completely off the moorings for it not to count. And they've got a call system here for the OHL final. Anything that needs to be reviewed goes directly to the OHL office. I can't tell you who picks up the phone at the other end, but we can assure the fans in Owen Sound, someone in the OHL office got to see that. So it's not a Mississauga kind of call. It's the league making the final decision on that.
Is it David Branch? Be honest with it.
Interesting, it was David Branch. I can't tell you who's in their war room at the OHL office, only that there's some people looking at it.
Also want to mention we got a great stat from the OHL and their head office as to the best playoff records of all time. Of course, the Majors have only lost one game so far in these playoffs. London holds the record for the best playoffs to go on and win the OHL championship. They were 16-2 back in 2005. And a couple of series went 5 for them. The Majors, of course, going 5 against the Niagara Ice Dogs. And right now, they lead this series 2-0. Chance maybe to take a 3-0 series lead. But, of course, anything can happen in overtime. But before we get to the first overtime session, let's throw it back upstairs to Brad and Will.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. There's a lot going on across Canada, but nothing on the ice still. We're still waiting to figure out what's going to happen in Portland, because Portland and Kootenay are getting together for Game 1 of the Western Conference, or actually the Western Hockey League Championship Series. That is a 10:30 Eastern puck drop, and what are we looking for in that series, Will?
Well, hopefully we'll be able to update that game as this overtime goes on, so hopefully we can have a few hours of extra broadcast time just to update that. But anyways,
they are not going to like that.
We'll talk to our producer, James, about that. The series, though, between Kootenay and Portland, well, it boils down to this. Kootenay's won 11 straight games. They're very hot, and they're rolling 4 of the deepest lines in the CHL. So they're a very consistent team. Whereas Portland, they've got 2 of the biggest names left in the CHL. They've got Ryan Johansson and Nino Niederreiter. The 2 of them were drafted 4th and 5th overall, respectively, in last year's NHL draft. So that's a lot of star power up front. So, right, one of those teams will be here in Mississauga in a couple weeks' time.
That's what's happening out west. On the East Coast, New Brunswick is the host of the, or St. John in New Brunswick, hosting that QMJHL Championship Series. The Sea Dogs with a 2-1 victory last night. Now, that's closer than many people expected at home to start a series against Gatineau.
Well, yeah, St. John did have 8 days off between the end of their semifinal series, which they did sweep, whereas Gatineau needed a 7th game to get past Quebec to advance to the final. That 7th game was just on Tuesday, so maybe Gatineau was a little fresher, but St. John still the overwhelming favorites. They still won the game, and that's the most important part, and really they obviously still are the massive favorites to advance to the Memorial Cup and win the Cube.
St. John, Gatineau, Portland, and Kootenay, 4 teams battling. 2 of them will get here to play these 2 teams in the Memorial Cup. We'll continue to keep an eye on which of those teams they will be. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. As we get set for overtime, Ben Ennis joined by Jesse Messier and Peter Curtis again. And gentlemen, before we get to overtime, love this part, we get to pick overtime winners. Jesse, who you got? Both teams. You got to choose one for each team.
I think I'm going to go with Cizikas for St. Mike's. He's been buzzing out there, but and for Owen Sound, I think I'm going to go with Brace. You know, he's been all over the ice out there. You know, I think it's going to come for him. He's had a few chances here and there. It's kind of bobbled off his stick, but I think he's got it.
Peter, who you got?
I'm going to go with Kitson because he's had a lot of skate issues and hasn't gotten in the game. And I'm going to go with Petray for Owen Sound. He hasn't had the greatest series, maybe taken some dumb penalties. Does he decide to jump in overtime, maybe as that extra attacker and help Owen Sound win the game?
All right, I'm going for 2 guys on the hat trick watch. Devontae Smith-Pelly for the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors, and Andrew Shaw as well could have a hat trick for the Owen Sound attack here as we get set for overtime. We've only had 1 overtime game in this building so far in the playoffs. The Majors came out on top in that game as Justin Shugg put that goal away as the Majors beat the Niagara Ice Dogs in 5 games. Will he be the hero again? We'll find out in just mere moments. Overtime between the Majors and Attack coming up.
Hi, I'm Bobby Gillespie, president of the Owen Sound Rotary Club. I'm here to thank our Owen Sound Attack Challenge sponsors. Their contributions make Rotary projects a reality.
Dave Cameron of the Mississauga Majors looking for that comeback that, well, we can't say nobody expected, but you sure thought that Mark Reed's Owen Sound attack were in a good spot, up 2 goals starting that third period. And if not for video review, they might be on the bus right now, headed home with a win. But it's called a goal, and by letter of the law, it was the right call.
Yes, as we got the rule, it was a tough break, no question, but it was a goal by the rule. Referees get ready for this third period, having a chat with Garrett Wilson. Referee having other referees over at the Owen Sound bench, having a chat with the Owen Sound bench. Now the refs and the linesmen wish each other luck. Devontae Smith-Tully takes a breather at the end of the bench. Always fun to pick the overtime winners. Who you picking?
I'm thinking Jordan Mayer has been quiet for the Majors, and I'm going to go with Shaw to finish the hat trick for the winner.
Chris D'Souza for St. Mike's, I think, is due to pop one. And Owen Sound, I am going to go with Robbie McNarty.
All right, here we go. Overtime, game 3. Majors 2-0 up in the series. And you know what? That doesn't mean a thing right now. All that matters is each possession. And maybe a turnover high in the zone like that could be costly. Here comes Hishin with some speed, but Percy is there to beat him to the puck. Percy under pressure, wheels the puck. It's off the skate of the captain, and Cizikas has to retreat. Wilson, and that's just knocked away from Cameron Brace, and the Majors shoot one in. Zador against J.P. Anderson. If you're just joining us, these 2 goaltenders have just been hanging in there tonight. And Zador has made some very key saves, believe it or not, to keep this game at level going into overtime here.
I'd say the goaltending has been shaky at both ends until the last half of this game. Michael Zador was very good. Dan, you're right, keeping Owen Sound in. 37-26 of shots before overtime.
Here's Petgrave with a steal. Forgot about him. He's got the chance, and there it is. It's over. 2-1 the series. Mississauga's lead cut in half on a rifle shot. Rob Flick collides with one of the Mississauga players as he's trying to get out of the way of the celebration, but everything's fine as they separate. Wow, 56 seconds in. We got ourselves a series going to Owen Sound on Sunday on Sportsnet.
No question about that. Petgrave with a beautiful shot, just blowing it past Anderson. No other way to say it. And watch it, sets a little, no screen, just under the stick of Anderson. Fires it home on the 27th shot of the game. Owen Sound's 6th goal. 56 seconds in, the look from above. Anderson saw it all the way, and then saw it in the back of the net. Full credit to the visitors. Owen Sound with a gutsy, determined effort on the road. And they hang a defeat here on the Majors, and the OHL final takes on a very different field. Owen Sound back in the series with a 6-5 win tonight. They don't call it sudden death overtime for nothing. Dan, it certainly is sudden, and it's a death for the Majors here in this one.
You know, it's interesting. I forgot. I don't know why Petgrave missed my mind, but boy, he has had an impact on this game, both good and bad. He's been involved. His speed has been an issue. Petgrave mentioned early in the series he didn't think the Majors could handle the speed of the Owen Sound attack, and as we've seen, they can. But certainly in certain times and used in certain situations, boy, speed can do you so much good. And right there coming down the wing, J.P. Anderson just could not handle that shot. So game 5 will be back here on Tuesday, May 10th at 7 o'clock. And Roger Lajoie will have that call for you here on Rogers TV. But first of all, Sportsnet on Sunday afternoon will have the game up at Owen Sound.
And now let's check in with the panel and get their thoughts on that sudden death goal by Owen Sound. Here's Bennett.
Feels like we were just up here, and we're back. Didn't take very long. Ben and it's Peter Curtis and Matt Scooby going to break down this 6-5 win for the Owen Sound attack. First home loss of the playoffs for the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors, as this series completely changes. Instead of going up 3-0 for the Majors, they now lead it 2-1, but I mean, really, they're back on serve. It's like a tennis match. And if Owen Sound wins their home games, there will be a Game 7. So, taking all that in, Peter, what's your overall assessment? How do you feel after this game?
Well, it's hard to analyze this game because they had so many power plays in the first period, quirky bounces, but you gotta like the fact if you're in Owen Sound, your team's coming back with a chance to tie the series, national television audience, you know it's going to be loud Sunday afternoon in Owen Sound.
And it's one that they needed. It's one they had to have, and Petgrave ends at 56 seconds into overtime. So, and I'm sure they're much happier to do it that way than say we go 1-2 overtimes into this one. It's back-to-back nights. We could have seen some really sloppy hockey, but we won't go to the what if. It's over. It's 2-1, brand new series, and they need to go back and have a big game on Sunday at home. Biggest letdown for the Majors so far in the playoffs, but Devontae Smith-Pelly had a very good game, a couple of goals, didn't score in the overtime. He was my pick, but he's with Alicia Warner right now.
Thanks a lot, Bennett. Bittersweet. Devontae Smith-Pelly with me. Second star of the game with 2 goals tonight. Kind of deflating, though. Big time deflating, that overtime goal in the 6-5 loss.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one to swallow, especially from coming back 2 down in the third, but it's just one game, and we're going to go back to work tomorrow at practice and have a good one Sunday.
If there's anything positive to take away from this loss here, the first home loss in the playoffs for you guys, it was a short turnaround last night, and the fact that you came back 2 goals down in the third period. What was the attitude like on the bench and going into overtime? Because it must have been pretty high, especially for you, scoring that tying goal.
Yeah, it was positive on the bench. I mean, we're pretty comfortable being down a couple goals. We've done it a couple times in the playoffs and in the regular season, but you know, you never want to be in that position to begin with, and we got to be a little bit better on Sunday.
Is there anything in particular that you think you guys have to work on to be a little bit better going back to Owen Sound?
Probably our penalty kill. They get a lot of power play goals, not just in this game, but in the series. So, I mean, we probably have to tighten that up in our overall defensive game, too.
Devontae Smith-Pelly, second star here in the Majors' first home loss of these 2010-2011 playoffs. 6-5 loss to the Owen Sound Attacks. 2-1 series lead for the Majors heading back to Owen Sound. We'll set it back upstairs.
Thank you very much, Alicia. The Owen Sound Attack pick up their first win of the series.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line. Email us or connect with us on social media. This is Rogers TV, Grey County.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hello and welcome to HealthLink, a program connecting home, community, and healthcare. My name is Carol Merton, and today I'm delighted to welcome 2 guests to the program. The topic of this program is local grandmothers speaking out on the opioid crisis. And this captured my attention, I must say, so I'm really delighted to welcome Colleen Purton and Lee Greaves to the show. So before we get into the meat of the subject, I'm wondering if you would mind introducing yourself to our viewing audience, and then let's chat about why, because you've actually written to media to talk about this concern of yours. So who'd like to go first?
Colleen. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Lee Graves. I'm a proud Owen Sounder. Been here for many years. I've had the opportunity to be involved in a lot of community efforts. And my interest in this is definitely as a mother and a grandmother and a community member, because it seems pretty shocking to me that we have deaths happening in our community, young people taken from us. They're being poisoned. Essentially, it's a poisoning. And I don't think we've been looking at this in the correct way. I think we've got a big problem lurking, and I think there are solutions that many people are are asking for. And I think the fact that, gray-haired grannies might come out and say, you know what, let's just change our whole course of action on this, might be of interest. So that's why I chose to speak up.
Excellent. Colleen.
Thanks, Carol and Lee. It's really a privilege to be able to speak about addictions once again in my life. I am a grandmother and a mother, and like Lee, have been in this community for a long time, well over 30 years now. So this is the longest I've ever lived in one place. I feel very much at home. And many years ago, I worked in addictions. And many years I've worked in this community with very vulnerable people, particularly women fleeing violence, but more recently with women and children living with poverty, with Indigenous peoples, and some very vulnerable people in our community. And I think that's what really spurred action on my part to just write something, was just like violence against women, there's so much shame associated with people who are struggling with addictions, so much secrecy, so much blame, usually blaming the people who are struggling with these amazingly difficult issues. They're also often connected with terrible experiences that they have had as children, as teenagers, sometimes all through their life, of trauma that is barely survivable. And I think the one thing that I do carry from my past work in addictions, which was really in the 1980s, so really going back a long time, was the fact that people who have really, really huge addiction issues with legal or illegal drugs are almost always trying to solve a problem that can only be solved by deadening themselves to the pain that they carry. And the pain that they carry can come from many, many different reasons. But it is, as one psychiatrist I worked with said, it's a slow suicide. And right now we have drugs that it's not a slow suicide. And in fact, it could be just a little adventure that somebody's trying out something and they can die. So it's really time for us to turn our heads around.
Yeah, I agree with your discussion about pain in an earlier program. What the guest said was, the addiction is a symptom of a deep, deep pain. The issue isn't about the addiction, it's about helping people cope with that pain that has made them turn to substances that deaden the pain. And I thought that was, for me, that was so enlightening, because sometimes you see the addiction and the what we see, but it's really not the issue. And that I think is so important message to get out to the public. These people, all of us actually, but anyone can have deep pain that we just try and deaden in a variety of ways. And addiction is one. Lee, you fascinated me about, we've got to do something. Gray-haired grannies, tell me more.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that the time is right for some action, for some big change, because it's already been paved. The way's been paved already. We had this change with our marijuana laws, and as far as I can tell, things are working just fine. I don't see why we shouldn't be doing the same thing with opioids and other drugs, just following that same course. We wouldn't be leading the way in the world. There are other countries that have done this. Portugal springs to mind. So if anyone's interested in their experience, just Google Portugal's deregulation of drugs, and you'll see lots of interesting information there. I found something really fascinating when I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be an expert. I'm concerned. And so I did a little bit of Googling myself and discovered that the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police have come out with a recommendation to adopt a public health-led diversionary approach to illicit substance abuse. So basically, they are recommending that this change in attitude toward drug use happen, because what we're doing is not working for sure. Anyone can see that. And I think if you look historically, we can see this happening over and over again. Prohibition doesn't work. As a matter of fact, it actually makes things worse. We had that with the prohibition of alcohol many, many years ago, and leads to the rise in crime and harms strictly that happened because of that prohibition. So I think the same thing happened with marijuana. How many people's lives were ruined, not by the marijuana use, but by society's reaction to it and the fact that it was deemed illegal, and people ended up with that kind of situation where they were in jail. That follows you through your whole life. And now I think it's actually even worse. It's an even more stark situation where people who are, as you say, using drugs, as people have through the centuries, to help them cope with whatever happens to be in their lives. But the drugs we have right now, it's like Russian roulette. It is, the supply is poisoned, and we can move right away to change that situation. So I think the government needs to step in to provide a safe supply while we deal with the rest of the regulations and figuring out how we're going to divert the money that currently goes in and is wasted, in my opinion, in policing and court costs and all the rest of that, and turn it towards helping the people that just need help. Because I think that rehabilitation helps. Punishment makes everything worse.
Now, what you're describing, people will hear and they'll think, wow, I can't believe a grandmother's saying that. But you've certainly studied, you've investigated this to just figure out other ways. You're suggesting we look at this in a totally different way, a different lens, based on what we know is or isn't working now and what has worked in other areas. What would you say to people who would say, what are you meaning? How can you say that? You're a grandmother.
Well, I think precisely because I am a grandmother. I don't have lived experience with drug use, although every family, and mine included, has people who have had experience that has been fine, occasional users. And I equate any kind of drug use. I think alcohol is a drug. It just happens to be one that our society has deemed is okay and regulates and makes sure that the supply is safe, which didn't happen during Prohibition. So I don't think it's a big leap. And I think most of the people with my color of hair are people from the 60s and 70s. And so this is not something that should be shocking at all. I think if we're looking at harm reduction in our society, which is what good citizens should always do, let's just find a way to reduce this harm that is happening. And the scary thing for me is that it seems to have been happening so silently, precisely because of the stigma that's attached. I was shocked to learn that there have been more deaths due to opioids in Grey Bruce than there have been to COVID. Mm-hmm. And the fact that families are dealing with loved ones, young, middle-aged, old, whatever, who happen to run into this supply, this poisoned supply, and one day their loved one is there, the next day they're gone. And because of some strange taboo we have around this whole thing, we don't know who these people are, we don't know the story around it, and we can't offer our sympathy and support to them. That somehow seems very wrong to me.
Colleen, have you seen a change in trending from your experience, certainly from the 80s and along? What are you noticing?
Certainly there is a shift. We're on your program today. That's a shift. I mean, not so long ago, we would have been hearing about the evils of drugs and how as if we have these, we have to criminalize because they're inherently illegal and evil, and that they're being brought to us by evil people, and that the people who actually use these drugs are morally terrible people, and they have a lack of willpower. They're not strong people. They don't really care about how worried their family are. They bear all of the responsibility for not stopping to take drugs and relapsing. You know, when I worked in the clinic, I worked in a 3-month treatment clinic in Germany for alcohol and drug dependent people, mainly men. And if there was a relapse, you were hoofed right out of the program. It didn't matter if it was 1 month in or 2 months in. All you had to do was relapse. Even the tiniest relapse, you were kicked out of the program because it meant that you weren't really serious about dealing with your addiction, and that the only way to kind of educate people with addiction issues is, you know, to let them fall to the bottom of the pit and drag themselves up, and only then were they truly going to be motivated when they were really, you know, just had squandered all opportunities. I think that's the way it was framed. And, you know, those attitudes are still around. It's not like, you know, everyone's saying, oh, yes, this is an illness, because that's not true. Many people still think this is a matter of will or morality. And it's up to the addicted person to fix it. So I think there is a change in attitudes, but really what Lee is describing, the movement towards seeing addiction as an illness, and that there are root causes for addiction that also live often in secrecy. So not so long ago, I did a rather big research project in the southwest of Ontario, looking at the intersecting issues of addiction, mental health, and abuse and trauma. So where those overlap. And not surprisingly, I think really 100% of the abused women and men that I talked to had either addiction issues or addiction and mental health issues. And often there were addiction and or mental health issues in their family of origin as well, which contributed to the abuse and neglect that they experienced in their own home. And that if you grew up in an abusive home as a child, you're not as well prepared to protect yourself or look after yourself or be economically able to afford treatment or housing even, or food. And you're not as good or as able to provide the protection or the support for your children either. So it's a cyclical downward spiral. So somehow to say that people who are struggling with addiction issues, and in particular with illicit drugs, and that who are then criminalized, and that criminalization adds just another whole layer of vulnerability for people. Once you're criminalized, you lose access to housing, to employment. You can't even volunteer if you've got a criminal record. And it just accelerates a downward spiral. And then refusing treatment for people because they're on a downward spiral seems to be the last hit on the head for people. So I think we are moving away from some of that, but I don't think the general public always understands the connection between some of these big issues that in our society, mental health, addictions, abuse and trauma for sure, poverty, have always been issues that have been surrounded by secrecy and shame and blame. Like, we blame the people who are poor. And I did the work on rural women in poverty. The single most important comment, I think, from all of the women I worked with was how they felt like less as people, as moms, as citizens, because they were poor, and that they were treated like they were less. And even if they were, you know, not addicted and not mentally ill and not terrible people, they were still treated as somebody who had failed. And if you add addiction in there, then you're even a bigger failure sometimes, or usually can be considered. So I think it's layered and it's complex, but it doesn't have to be hard to respond to people with addiction issues in a generous and compassionate way. And instead of a generous and compassionate response, people are criminalized. You know, women and men are criminalized because of their dependency. And now, what Lee was saying is not only is the criminalization of these drugs causing harm, but they're so dangerous. And that we as a society actually just have decided that, well, it's your own fault. So the statistics that show that, you know, I found one that there have been many, many more opiate deaths in Canada than COVID, like 14,000 of them between 2014 and 2019. That's even before the COVID actually got going. How long are we going to wait before we say this is a health issue?
Yeah, and certainly the word poisonous, we've mentioned that certainly in this program is true, because it's just one more risk factor. So changing the blame frame is something that we as a community and a society need to do. Before we talk about how, you know, your message to the community, what would you say? How can we begin, or what do we need to do? I did a little research after I read your article, and you know, grandmothers and grandfathers do have the right to speak out and should speak out, because often in addicted situations, the grandparents are the ones who are raising the children of the addicted individuals. So they're definitely raising potentially the next generation because of the impact. And so, you know, to obviously care for those who are addicted with wraparound services and support is one thing, but also to care for the children so that they also will be able to be raised by their parents. And certainly I just see a huge impact on grandparents, you know, in their life cycle as well. So what would you say? You know, I'm hearing you, and we need, you know, as we say, often it's said, I know I've said to my kids, you need an attitude adjustment. Well, society needs an attitude adjustment. What would you say to us?
I think we're in a really good time to make this change. One thing that COVID has done for us is, I think, made most people realize how much we need to rely on people in charge who are right at the forefront of a lot of these situations. And so rely on the science. I'm looking again to the Association of Chiefs of Police, who are asking for this. They are saying that this would improve the health and safety outcomes for individuals who use drugs, while also reducing property crime and repeat offenses and the demand for drugs in communities. So that's, wow, that's the Chiefs of Police. I'm also looking at an article that was in the Canadian Medical Association Journal. And again, these are our medical professionals who say that the public health response to a poisoning epidemic must be to provide a safer alternative, which must include providing a safe supply of pharmaceutical drugs, as well as decriminalization of drug use and a redeployment of resources from enforcement to social and health services. Right? This makes sense. So these things, they've been studied. Now we have to actually put some action behind what these studies have come up with. And everything's political in this kind of situation, as we all know. It was brought home to me this morning when I went to put a shirt on, because I thought, oh, people are going to see me today. I've got this nice red shirt. No, I can't wear that because that's associated with a certain political party. And then I had another brightly colored shirt that was also associated with a political. I'm wearing plaid. Okay? Because I actually think that there isn't a political party in Canada that couldn't find something in this change to support. So I worry, I don't want any one political party to pick it up and run with it because that turns it into a political football. I think every person who hears this, I don't care who you vote for, just if you care about this and think this is the way we should go, write a letter to your member of parliament, write a letter to, if you're a card-carrying member of any particular party, write a letter, let them know that this is an issue that you want to see in the platform, their platform. And if it's there, you'll vote for them, whoever. Yeah. I think that's what we have to do, because that's where the actual change is going to have to come from. It's going to have to come from top down. But point to all of the facts that the chiefs of police, the Canadian Medical Association, there's plenty of evidence to put this forward and make a case for it. And actually, it was funny, last night, my husband and I watched this movie called The Painter and the Thief. It's a documentary, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a perfect example of what we're talking about today. And it's a true story, an amazing true story. It's a European story where their prisons work more on rehabilitation. And it also goes to show what can happen in the arc of a person's life who is struggling with addiction because of whatever reasons. And it's interesting because this gentleman in this movie seems to have come through the arc out the other side around the age of 40. And then I realized that in some of my investigation that most of the opioid deaths are in males aged 20 to 49. We can't lose those people. We can't lose anybody. But it's just a tragedy for our society that this is happening. It's criminal, it's poisoning, it's not something that people have control over or would choose to do. This is a poisoning.
I'm wondering in our community, and for sure, top leadership needs to model the way. They have, obviously a variety of power and tools they can use. I've also been so impressed by what the community can do together by having conversations, just like we are today, or to sit around a table that involves police and enforcement, those with lived experiences, because none of us know unless you've walked the path. And people like yourselves who are compassionate and care for the community, who will help to reframe for those who may have different attitudes. What would you think might work for us collectively as any community? I don't necessarily point it right here, but any community. How can we get the momentum locally, or just get the messaging out? What would you think could make a difference?
Well, I just want to say there's so much the community can do, and actually the community also influences the politicians. So we've had a whole decade and a half of tough on crime. Tough on crime just puts people in jail, and usually they're the most vulnerable people in our community: Indigenous people, Black people, poor people, people with mental health issues already. Those are the people who we are incarcerating. Those are the people who we're rolling down the hill further down. So I think the community can just say there's all kinds of research that incarceration and the criminal justice response to addiction is an absolute and utter failure. And there's no rehabilitation offered anymore in correctional facilities for people with addiction issues. So let's just give up on that one. So we spend billions of dollars to use criminal justice methods, and they're useless. They're completely useless. So let's just turn that ship around. Okay, we tried it and it doesn't work. So the community can say, let's try some things that might work. And there's lots of really good examples of that, how working with people, safe injection sites, offering treatment and support, being compassionate, talking as a community about how we can wrap our arms around the most vulnerable people in our communities. And the compassion is there. It's just we've been told it's a crime.
Well, you know, I can't believe our time is up. And for me, I would enjoy having further conversations, and I invite you to come back again, but certainly more needs to be done. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you to our viewing audience. Please join us again to learn more about services, programs, and resources available to you and to your family. Take care, stay safe, care for each other. Thank you.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line. Email us or connect with us on social media. This is Rogers TV. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Welcome to the show, folks. Hope this finds you all safe and staying positive and happy. I know that sometimes we all know things are getting a bit confusing and frustrating, sometimes difficult and challenging, but we are strong. And I'm sending everyone watching a lot of love. This is On the Couch, episode 6 of season 7. Super cool. Your host here, Antoine El Hashem, and hanging out with my super sweet puppy cowboy, Gyllenhaal El Hashem. Before I get to my guests, I just want to touch on something. I just been getting lately close to the music industry and getting a lot of insight on the lack of representation and support for artists in the LGBTQ2S plus community, both in exposure and in playtime. Representation matters, both for our community and our youth, as well as for queer musicians and artists themselves and singers because they're creating some really great, darn awesome work. So we need to support them as a community and allies and friends, but we also hopefully will see more support. We are still considered a genre rather than people who listen to all genres and should contribute to all